All right, welcome to episode number 62 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co-host, Dr. Games 101.
Yo, 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 what's up, guys?
And we got a lot of stories, a lot of certain award show that we talked about 2 weeks ago happened. A lot of games were shown there, so I say we get right into the news.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, the first story coming up. The FTC apparently split on Microsoft Activision decision. An apparent rift at the Federal Trade Commission has emerged around the Microsoft Activision merger, which may complicate matters further. Microsoft's blockbuster bid to acquire Activision Blizzard has garnered headlines and scrutiny all around the world. However, according to a new report from the New York Post, a conflict over the deal at the Federal Trade Commission might handicap the panel's ability to intercede. The report states that FTC Chair Lina Khan is pushing to block the deal if possible, with a Politico report stating last month that a lawsuit against the deal was likely. In a turnaround, this new report says that at least one Democrat on the four-member panel has become more likely to approve the merger in recent days, which will likely impair any such suit from appearing. These three Democrats are Khan, Rebecca Slaughter, and Alvaro Bedoya. Republican Christine Wilson has already indicated her support. The report suggests that Slaughter is the commissioner in question. It also states that a settlement, which would alter the terms of the merger instead blocking it altogether, may be a more likely outcome at this juncture. A tie would effectively approve the deal. Though the Microsoft Activision merger had been legally approved in some countries, including Brazil, the United States and Europe authorities have expressed skepticism of the deal. Exclusivity surrounding key franchises like Call of Duty is one of the main points of contention. A recent Reuters report indicated that Microsoft will likely offer a 10-year Call of Duty licensing deal to Sony soon, though no deal has been made as of this writing. So what do you think about, even the FTC can't agree on whether or not to approve or deny this purchase of Activision Blizzard?
Yeah, the acquisition of Blizzard and what's this called, Blizzard and Activision is a very big. It's a very big transaction to go through right now, and it's been almost a whole year since it announced Microsoft to buy this company for $70 billion. So it's a big hump of change to look after for, and lots of tax revenue to gain in as well for the FTC, because obviously they're under a budget too for the United States government. Personally, myself, I don't mind the acquisition. It's a little bit. It is what it is right now in today's climate of gaming culture or the gaming companies at large. Personally, myself, I do not want to have this happen, but business is business. It's Microsoft have the money and they have the power, and the money and the power. So put that together, they can do whatever they want to do almost. But then again, they had a problem like this back in the 1990s when FTC, as well as the government themselves overall, didn't want Microsoft to be this too big of a company of like that. Microsoft, so it broke into kind of like two companies in a sense back in the 90s, into the 2000s. So this is just deja vu all over again. This time it's gaming, and it's a very heaping amount of money for the game industry to look forward towards. I personally like to see Microsoft Activision give them their 10-year contract with Sony, and after that they can do whatever the fuck they want. That's how I look at it. So.
All right. We do have some more information on what Microsoft is planning with Call of Duty. It's not in terms of exclusivity. It's actually going the other way that we're going to cover. It's. I really don't see what the problem is. We've had the big three, Microsoft and Sony specifically, buying studios left and right, and no one was saying, one word about it. It's just this Sucker Dog is now owned by Microsoft. Insomniac is now owned by Sony. And when this major buying of studios was going on, no one said anything until it came to Activision Blizzard.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like, what makes this so special? I mean, especially if Microsoft says we're not gonna keep Call of Duty away from PlayStation Okay, what's the problem here? What's the holdup?
Some of the exclusivity. That's all it is. Sony wants a piece of that pie that's being transferred over to Microsoft, and definitely the fact that it's going to affect their bottom dollar in the long run. Sony. So basically, it's like karma on their part too, Sony, where it's like they keep swindling and breaking deals with certain companies and entities out there for decades. You know how Sony is with being a business people, and now they get to get what they deserve. They're going to be eat up some of the competition over time, and I hope it's a good thing in the end to make things more affordable as well as more appealing to go to Sony now, if ever, as a game that
Yes.
is.
So it's just, I mean, again, they say this would be a game changer. That's the whole reason people are buying studios
Oh yeah.
to begin with. And, if Call of Duty is. I just thought this would be settled by now, especially when Microsoft said, we're not going to keep Call of Duty away from PlayStation. Okay, why is this still an issue then?
Beats me,
That's
man.
the way I look at it. Anything else, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right. Next, Star Wars Jedi Survivor leak makes early 2023 look like mayhem. A March release date for the follow-up to Jedi Fallen Order leaks on Steam. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to EA's only great Star Wars game throughout its entire 10-year exclusivity deal with Disney, looks like it will come out on March 16, 2023. That's according to a recent Steam page leak ahead of the 2022 Game Awards marketing blitz later this week. It's good news for Star Wars fans hungry for a reason to dive back into that universe, but bad news for everyone's backlog and wallet as Survivor joins an already crowded winter lineup. The game's Steam page was briefly populated with the release date, content summary, and pre-order bonuses, as spotted by Wario64 and others. The dark times are closing in, and with enemies new and familiar surrounding him, Cal will need to decide how he's willing to go to save those closest to him, reads part of the description, which notes there will be additional force abilities and new lightsaber fighting styles for players to make use of this time around. The minimum PC system requirements also point to a GTX 1070 and 130 gigabytes of free space. Otherwise, it sounds exactly like more Jedi Fallen Order, which is what everyone wants. EA had previously teased a big blockbuster for the first quarter of next year, leading many to assume that pending any delays, that's when Survivor would launch. March 16th would put it at the tail end of a winter stuffed with big releases. Fire Emblem Engage, Forspoken, and the Dead Space remake arrive in January, while Hogwarts Legacy, Octopath Traveler 2, and Destiny 2 Lightfall come out in February, just to name a few. Then March is bookended by Ubisoft's Pirate Adventure, Skull and Bones, and Capcom's Resident Evil 4 remake. As evidenced by the past few years now, the big holiday release onslaught now starts after New Year's. A new trailer for hold on, there's more. A new trailer reveal for Survivor had also been rumored to be possible during Thursday's Game Awards live stream. Jeff Keighley has confirmed as much. One of a bunch of big Star Wars projects in the works right now, Survivor is also among 3 new EA Star Wars games being headed up by Apex Legends developer Respawn Entertainment. If it can build on what the previous game achieved, it will show that the publisher has finally figured out a strategy that works for the license after years of botched launches and cancellations. So, we're both big fans of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
At least I played the first 45 minutes of it last time I checked.
Okay, I played a little more. I played the first hour and a half on stream. Well, do you want to go first, or
To be honest with you, I'm like a Star Wars follower more than a fan. So I see what's going on with Star Wars for the last 10 years, and it's gotten slightly better with its commercial and marketing, you want to call it like that. But the overall quality is going downhill to most people's perspectives. Specifically, this game, Jedi Fallen Order, this game is pretty good overall of itself. It's good performance, good graphics, good hand-eye coordination mechanics. Personally, myself, I like to see the sequel to that matter, to the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, so I'll be interested by the time I finish with this game of Fallen Order. I should be anticipating for the next one sometime next year. So it's not bad. Yeah. I don't have
Okay.
much to say about the matter. I'm very neutral with Star Wars, to be honest with you. I'm not into the Episode 8, Star Wars Episode 8 with their fiasco and all that bullshit they talked about Star Wars Episode 8. It's still a good Star Wars, movie altogether. These movies, last three Star Wars movies, so.
Okay. Well, as I was saying, Jedi Fallen Order, which is the first game, I played about the first hour and 45 minutes on stream, I'd say. And I played like a little bit, like 15, 20 minutes, off stream, just personally. I'm a huge fan of it. It's one of my favorite games on Game Pass. To say it's one of the games that's like 10 years in the last 10 years, I don't know about that. There's been good games like the Battlefront series for next gen systems. Those were good games. 10 years, 2012. This was after Star Wars, The Force Unleashed. That was like 2008. But yeah, the Battlefront games, those were good too. So, and those are still fun if you're playing the ones online. So I disagree with the person saying this is the first good game or this game coming up is the first good game. But on the other hand, yeah, I definitely think this is the way to go for future games.
Yeah, let's see if we can try to do that with movies as well too. If they can bring back the Star Wars fandom, the goodness of Star Wars fandom all over again. They tried to do it with Episode 7, and then with video games like that of the rehashing, but the reselling of the games or the promotion of the games to get Xbox games with gold. The Knights of the Temple, let's call Jedi Knights of the Temple, and then there's also Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2. So I got all those games through the Xbox games with gold. So I was worth it. So.
And not to mention, just talking about Star Wars Battlefront, the Battlefront 1 and 2, for PS2 or Xbox, whichever you prefer, they're completely different from the ones for Xbox One.
Definitely.
Xbox One and I guess PS4 too is all about multiplayer, while Star Wars Battlefront had their own single-player campaigns, because, in the PS2 days, online gaming was in its infancy at best. Mm-hmm. So it's, even though it shares the same name, it's 4 different games,
Right.
But yeah, I can't. I don't have as much faith of the movies though.
Okay.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Microsoft commits to bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo post-Activision acquisition. In the wake of Microsoft's ongoing acquisition of Activision Blizzard, one of the most contentious arguments against it has been Call of Duty's continued presence on PlayStation platforms. Xbox head Phil Spencer has repeatedly promised that the Juggernaut franchise will still appear on the main rival's platform, but that hasn't stopped Sony from touting the loss of the series as anti-competitive to stop the deal from going through. After saying he had no problem keeping Call of Duty on Sony hardware for the long term, Spencer has now extended and formalized that promise to Nintendo and Valve. Last night, Spencer announced on Twitter that Microsoft has entered a 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty back to Nintendo. In a follow-up tweet, Spencer states the series will remain on Steam as well. Of course, all of this hinges on the approval of the publisher's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, which continues to be scrutinized in ongoing approval processes from government regulators. Call of Duty has yet to appear on Switch, and the last entry to launch on Nintendo platform was 2013's Call of Duty Ghost, which appeared on Wii U. The series won't have a new entry in 2023, and by then the acquisition should be complete, assuming it's successful. Thus, it's unclear when we can expect to see Call of Duty return to the House of Mario. In contrast to Sony, Nintendo hasn't made much of a fuss about the Activision deal, and you could easily argue that Switch sales haven't suffered from the lack of Call of Duty's presence. Getting the franchise back certainly doesn't hurt, though. In other recent Xbox news, the publisher announced it's raising the price of first-party Xbox Series X and S games to $70 in 2023. So what do you think about Phil Spencer saying, "Hey, Call of Duty's coming to Nintendo, not just Sony"? If we get if Activision Blizzard purchase goes through.
It doesn't surprise me at all because back in the 2010s, Wii U had Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1, if I remember correctly. So it's,
Black Ops 1, yeah. Black Ops 2, yeah. They said the last game was Ghost. I think that came out after Black Ops 2, if I'm not mistaken.
I see. Okay, then. Well, it's no surprise because Nintendo already had Call of Duty games on their console for quite some time back in the day. So it's no surprise to begin with. The only problem is that how long would it last on the current Nintendo generation? And personally, myself, I see that the acquisition will be like a big transaction, as always, like we talked about earlier. But in the end, over the next few years, it's going to change. It's a Microsoft dominant market, in my perspective, among these all three major companies. So.
All right. Well, I mean, if Phil Spencer has said previously that he wants to get more people playing Call of Duty, not less. So getting Nintendo in, letting Nintendo have it, is a way to do that, and Steam for people on PC.
But this also means too, Triple J, is that the downside to what Microsoft is doing for the next God knows how many years with this acquisition is to dominate the market, and it's like we're not sure Microsoft going to keep their word to Nintendo as well, especially to Sony, out having their copies of Call of Duty on their platforms. So I
think it would benefit Microsoft to do this because if they own the rights to Call of Duty, if they own the developing and publisher rights, or just I'm not sure which, if it's one of those or both of those. But the thing is, if this acquisition goes through, then whether or not people's buying the game off Steam or for Nintendo or for Sony or for Microsoft is still making money off every sale,
right?
Because they own it. So it would benefit Microsoft money wise to bring it to everyone and to say, hey, you want to buy the game for Sony, we're still getting a cut. You want to buy the game for Steam, we're still getting a cut. That's
a good point. You make good points for the matter.
So it would benefit. So I could see why Phil Spencer. Yeah, if you're gonna get cut from every sale of a game, you obviously, they'd probably still be making the pitch out to Stadia if Stadia was still around.
Yes, it seems to have its comeback in the next 10 to 20 years. So Stadia can come back in the next 10 to 20 years from now. Then that's when it can dominate the market. So, but until that happens, with Google and all, Microsoft's going to be a head honcho for the next 10 years.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thing is, they say actions speak louder than words. Obviously, this is all just intent right now. Mm-hmm. But Phil Spencer's intentions look good and true from what I've seen. Because now we're hearing Nintendo and Steam will get Call of Duty if Activision Blizzard acquisition goes through.
Well, by the looks of Phil Spencer, he's been a straightforward man. And this is personal together. So he's not like some cutthroat guy like that of other companies out there, which I don't want to name, or the people out there who are overtaking the industry at large through their feminism and their socialism, whatever these political agendas are in these gaming companies as late. And the Game Awards shows one of them. They show so much of like this, the grandiose of the game. Like the presentation is good, the graphics look good, but then when the game comes out, then it's like, okay, it's not the same feeling as before at the Game Awards show. But that's just a separate issue altogether. I'm comparing like apples to an orange tree, so.
Yeah, so I mean, for people who who were critical of Phil Spencer, I wonder what you think this intention now to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo or back to Nintendo since for the first time in 10 years, if people are less skeptical.
Yeah.
Again, time will tell. This is all for naught if the acquisition is not allowed to go through, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Halo Infinite's December update is a very big deal. A new map, custom game browser, and a ton of quality of life improvements make for Halo Infinity's best update yet. I just want to make sure people... Oh, I almost forgot to turn... So just so people can see the article, we also got a bunch of trailers from the Game Awards that we're going to be showing later. There are those who said this day would never come, but here we are. After a remarkably shaky launch last year, Halo Infinite just profoundly leveled up in one of the best ways possible. With a new full map, a custom games browser, new customization options, and the proverbial more, the game feels more like Halo than it's felt all year. It is time to say Halo's back. Is it time to say Halo's back, baby? I think so. Today, Halo Infinite received its hotly anticipated December update, building off the momentum the game gained when the Forge, its map creator, hit open beta a few months ago. There's now a full custom games browser that lets you jump into user-made maps with other players. The limited customization options for your Spartan also improved, with all previously released type cores, as the game refers to them, unlocked for everyone, and a boost to the color of various skins. And if you are a fan of Halo 3 maps, you have a nice surprise in store. There's also a bunch of networking improvements, as well as some PC-specific updates. To start, the game has a brand new map. Emperine is a remake of Halo 3's classic The Pit. This time, it got a cyberpunkish kind of vibe to it, and includes some weapon change-ups. The Bulldog is where the sword would usually be. UNSC turrets have been replaced with the new and beastly scrap cannon. But sniper rifles, battle rifles, needlers, and more all feel like they're where they're supposed to be. Jumping in here is an instant dose of nostalgia and works very well with Halo Infinite's movement styles. And speaking of maps, you can now check out all those Forge recreations of classic maps I told you about last week with real players. Now, as a custom game browser, it located under the Community tab is there for all Spartans to enjoy. And while the list is small right now, it's been impossible for me to get into a room since they're all packed, staying one another in maps like Peach's Castle and a remake of Snowbound, to name two I saw in the list. Is that all? Not yet. Snake, it's not over yet. Halo Infinite's player customization features were previously limited, tied up with a silly set of rules that meant only certain colors and armor options could go on specific armor cores. While much of that is still in place, the walls are starting to crumble. All players now have access to the Mark V, Rakshasa, Yoroi, and Eagle Strike armor cores. Plus, these cores now have access to the cadet color skins. Previously dull, these colors used to scream, "I didn't buy the battle pass." But now they're far more vibrant, with less wear and tear, and polished silver trim pieces. The game also got some tunings under the hood. The notorious desync issue that's plagued many players got some attention and melee attacks, and the way they connect to moving players are said to more consistently connect. Ongoing issues with reloading weapons and blank shots have also received attention. Us PC players got some love too. Finally, we have access to red reticle indicators, whereby your reticle will light up red for your chosen enemy or your chosen enemy color when you're within a particular gun's effective range. This was previously shut off to mitigate common aimbots that use this info to execute inhuman reactions. Hopefully, we won't see a surge of cheaters. There's also been improvements to mouse aim and the scroll wheel. Given that the custom game browser is also live, it's also wonderful to see improvements for player reporting. The patch notes indicates that you can now mute and report other players during multiplayer matches via the game's scoreboard. When reporting someone, you can choose from the following options: inappropriate user-generated content, discriminatory language, harassment or bullying, vulgar language, team killing or self-destruction, idling or quitting, or cheating. The idling and quitting one, I bet, is likely to get a lot of use. If you played Halo Infinity at all lately, you know what I'm talking about. Halo has not had it easy this past year. A lack of content, various technical issues, and a big delay for Season 3 have all made the game feel far more depressing to play than it should be. Hopefully, this update dramatically improves the experience for those of us who keep coming back to this one of a kind arena shooter experience and sets the stage for better days ahead. So, what do you think of these updates to Halo Infinite?
So it seems interesting and promising as well, but very late to the party. It's been a one whole year since the release of Halo Infinite, and the hype is over with. I personally myself, I have my own circle of friends as you do to Triple J, especially on Xbox Live, and most of these gamers like under like 25 years of age. They're the bigger market than us 35 plus year olds. So these guys who are under 25, they don't care too much about the Halo franchise as a whole, or at least it does Halo Infinite specifically. It makes because whatever happened with Infinite affected the overall hype for Halo altogether. Because it was supposed to be a 10-year project with Halo Infinite, but they messed up on the matter with the live services. The first time ever doing this as a company, and personally myself, I don't mind Halo Infinite with this new update. New maps, new modes. I hope they'll bring back King of the Hill as well as with what's it, Regicide. That'd be nice because Regicide was in Halo 4. Personally myself, that's not happening, but to be honest with you, I'm not that hyped with Halo Infinite, to be honest with you, because last time I played Halo Infinite was at least 2 days ago now, at least. And I only played for about an hour, not even 2 hours. I used to play hours upon hours of Halo 3 when I was like 20 years old when it first was released to the public. And it was well worth every minute, penny, as well as time. So it's like, that was worth it back then. But now for the last couple of years, the hype for Halo Infinite was pushed back. And even with the 1 year pushback, they still have trouble trying to maintain that consistency of interest in the game as well. Their live services, which most gamers, or at least there's a good portion of gamers out there who are Halo fans or not, they don't want live services. Not for every game for the next God knows how many decades. And this is what's coming out to be with this, you own nothing, be happy moments. Whereas you buy $20 skins and their stores are maintained, but not the game itself. Like, who wants to deal with that stuff? So if Major Nelson, Phil Spencer, if they listed in, I know Major Nelson and I had a conversation in his comment section of his podcast the other month or two. If he's listening in still, this was coming down to be like, I don't really care much about Halo Infinite, and my circle of friends determined that matter too, just by them contribute more and more towards the playtime of the matter. They may not have the money for it, but they have the playtime to play these Halo games. So that's when I feel disappointed, because now these younger gamers don't have the same experience we grew up with in Halo. So that's my thoughts on Halo Infinite's update.
All right. Yeah, I'm not a big Halo Infinite player, but even I'm impressed with all these updates coming. So you think, just to get your thoughts, you think these updates are too little, too late?
Yeah, it's just doing leaks by leak, like little drips of information, drip of content, and it's okay to refresh the servers, refresh the player base a little bit with these new updates, these new content, but still, like you're a year too late. Like I moved on to mainly just with what Halo Master Chief Collection, as well as with newer games like Jedi Fallen Order, and these new games that came out with Namakarai, and all this stuff happened for the next God knows how many weeks, months, for the last few weeks or months. I want to buy an Xbox Series S and X sooner or later. At first I want to buy a PS5, so that's a double whammy on Xbox is part for not making me appeal to their new system, because at least PS5 has a player base or a gamer dedicated system in play, whereas Xbox One is kind of like Xbox Series S and X. Between these two systems, they're not really like that big of a deal, an upgrade. Oh yeah, what's it called, 14 teraflops, and you play 6 games in one turn on power mode of the console, meaning that you play 6 simultaneous games at the same time between each other, and don't have to quit or to transfer the data to another part of the Xbox. So, but yeah, Halo Infinite it's too late, too late. I hope you'll bring back maybe a couple of thousand players at best. Personally, myself, I'm one of those guys. If I come back to it, just see how it is. But then there's these gamers who never contribute financially as much, but play a lot of it to the best of their ability of gaming altogether, especially with the Master Chief Collection. So it's all about hit and miss. It's how much can you appeal to so much over the year, and wonder to yourself where's the player base at. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, if for people out there, if you're still playing Halo Infinite, there's going to be a lot more coming when this update hits. It didn't say when this update would be. It's just a December update. But yeah, it looks like a lot more is coming for those who are still playing it. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Celeste developers reveal first footage of new game Earthblade. Here's your first look at Earthblade's gorgeous visual style and platforming action. Celeste developer Extremely OK Games has revealed its first look at Earthblade, the new game first announced over a year ago. The trailer shows off a lush fantasy-inspired world, showcasing the title's seamless 2D exploration. Also featured, one moment, is Earthblade's horned protagonist and a secondary character who welcomes them to the world after they appear out of a portal. Earthblade was first announced in April 2021 with a vibe reveal, a snippet of music set over concept art from the game. At the time, Extremely OK Games warned that it wouldn't be sharing as much from Earthblade's development as it did with Celeste, instead keeping an air of mystery around the new project. The first look gives a taste of the game's expansive 2D world, platforming action, and combat, showcasing a number of different themed areas and the enemies that inhabit them. The trailer confirmed that Earthblade will release in 2024. We're going to play the trailer now, and then me and Dr. Games 101 will discuss it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
After this advertisement, of course.
Yes.
Okay. After this advertisement. Here it goes.
Yes.
Okay. Here it goes.
I've seen this trailer before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, it looks good.
I never saw it before, so...
Yeah, it's been in the making for at least a year. I've seen this trailer before.
Yeah, they did say that.
Yeah, it looks good.
I never saw it before, so...
Yeah, it's been in the making for at least a year.
Yeah, they did say that.
Getting the chills again. I like the transitioning of this trailer. I love it. Getting the chills again. I like the transitioning of this trailer. I love it. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the prettiest of them all? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the prettiest of them all? 2024 is coming out. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was next
Yeah,
year.
I saw that too.
All right. Then.
Yes. So I mean, what do you think of Earthblade? From what we've seen.
Well, it's my second time seeing the trailer of the same trailer, and it looks good still. I'm not sure about the entire overall background of the matter, but it looks visually good. Like it reminds me of the late 1990s gameplay of at the arcades and all like that of like Marvel vs. Capcom, a little bit of mixture of that with what's that other Contra, because Contra was like a side scrolling shoot 'em up, you want to call it like that. So it's kind of
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar because the graphics, the layout looks like that, the 1990s graphics. So they try to
Right.
reminisce to the older gamers like us gamers here. Um, to the newer gamers, like under 25, 21, if ever, that'll be good for them to start off and understanding this kind of gaming aspect of the gaming culture. So, I personally myself, I hope I see more trailers like this in the future because we still got to wait another at least a year and a half, right? So,
Yeah, 20. It said 2024. It could be January 2024 or December 2024.
indeed. So yeah.
Okay. Have you ever did you ever play Celeste for Xbox One?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I heard the
Uh,
game before. I must have downloaded it once, but I never got a chance to play it.
yeah, I think it was a game with gold. I did play it. I was only able to get past the tutorial. I couldn't get past World One,
Oh,
because it's not Celeste wasn't just platforming. You had to be able to figure out how you were going to get through the level. You had to get past obstacles or jumps that were too high to just normally jump up to a ledge or something, and I couldn't figure it out,
right.
so I gave up. Um, there's this YouTuber, the completionist, who I think he beat it, and he's just amazing. But so I'm hoping Earthblade is not that difficult when it comes to exploration. I
Right.
hope the levels look kind of labyrinth like, where you're gonna have to find the right way through, but there's only one right way. So I just hope that when this game is done, it's not going to be as difficult as Celeste,
Oh yeah.
because the people who made Celeste is making this game.
Right.
So for all we know, when Earthblade comes out, it might be just as difficult to navigate through as Celeste was.
Hmm.
That's going to turn me off.
Right.
That's all I have to say about it.
It kind of reminds me of this incomplete project called Alicia Hartsford, which was a one of those Kickstarter backup projects back in the early 2010s. So in this specific game plane, it looks similar to that of what we just saw just now with Earthblade, and I hope they'll still have a full release of that game sometime this decade, because it's been over 5 years now since the project was over with, and never thought about making that game yet in a complete state. So hopefully, Earthblade will overcome that matter, and whatever situation. Because I'm sure it was backed up by something before it was put out there to the public. That's long ago. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll find out more about Earthblade as we get closer to the release date.
oh yeah, definitely.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Company of Heroes 3 confirmed for console, coming 2023. The strategy game comes to console for the first time in 2023 with the release on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Company of Heroes 3 is officially coming to console. Developer Relic announced during the Game Awards that the strategy game will come to console in 2023. This isn't a big surprise, as recently discovered rating revealed that Company of Heroes 3 would be released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Whether or not the game comes to last generation consoles remains to be seen. Company of Heroes 3 will be the first entry in series come to console. 2006's Company of Heroes and 2000 Company of Heroes 2 were exclusive to PC. The franchise did expand to a different platform, mobile, in 2020 with an iOS and Android release. Company of Heroes launches on February 23rd, 2023 for PC, following a delay from November 2022. Whether or not the console edition also arrives that day remains to be seen. The game will launch with 4 factions and 2 single-player campaigns. Have you ever played any of the Company of Heroes games?
I've heard the game before in the past, many years ago, especially for the PC and all. I never got a chance to play it though. And if I recall correctly, I think it was part of Games with Gold, or it was on sale with your games with your Xbox Gold edition. So if you had Xbox Gold membership, you get like 10% more off, or 20% off on top of the 5%, something of that. So I'm not sure the exact pricing, but I bought it under like say $8 the other week of this World War II themed type of game too, if it were to the same type of franchise. So it looks good. I saw the trailer. Company of Heroes, it's kind of like Medal of Honor, but have its own little shtick. Because Medal of Honor, last time we had a Medal of Honor game was back, 2013, 15 at best? And I was like with the Xbox One gameplay with no audience or no following that game. So, but yeah, hopefully Company of Heroes 3 will come out and will have like a good market to go towards for the certain gamers. It may not be the most appealing, most extravagant game to buy for the 2023, but I'm sure it'll be one of those heavy hitters of like cult classics, what I call it like that. That's how I look at it too with Company of Heroes. It's kind of like a grouping of gamers play together, and that's about it. So
Okay, so yeah, so I'm not a big fan of strategy games. That's what Company of Heroes is. So
right,
yeah, so like it said, it's coming to console. It's coming out February of 2023 for PC, but we don't know if that's when the console port will also come out.
well, yeah, definitely,
We don't even know if it's coming out for last gen consoles.
definitely.
So, yeah. So I mean, it's not a game I'm probably gonna go after because like I said, I'm not a big fan of the strategy genre.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah. I'm more of the turn-based style type of gameplay, like the Final Fantasy 7, a little bit of Final Fantasy 13, definitely Chrono Trigger. So
yeah, yeah. Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 8, even Valkyria Chronicles 4, which is as close to strategy as I've gotten to enjoying in a, in the most recently. Um,
oh yeah,
so yeah, so I guess we'll hear more about this game as we get closer to February. Ready to move on?
yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next, Crash Team Rumble announced. Features 8-player competitive online matches. Yes, this is CTR, but not the CTR you know. Crash Bandicoot is coming back in 2023, but unlike his last time traveling outing, he's taking things online. Crash Team Rumble was announced during the Game Awards and features 4-on-4 arena action for players of varying skill levels. In development at Toys for Bob, which also created Crash Bandicoot 4, Crash Team Rumble features classic series characters like Crash and Dingo Dial as they try to move Wump Fruit into a drop-off zone while also defending the enemy's zone. Characters will have their own special abilities, and there will be a strategic layer to this game to complement the zany action. This is hardly the first spin-off for the Crash Bandicoot series, with the remastered Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled launching back in 2019. We've also seen other party games like Crash Bash back in 2000, but the addition of online play should shake things up. The Crash Bandicoot series has been dormant for nearly a decade before Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy released in 2017. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, followed a few years later and received great reviews. Crash Team Rumble will be available on Xbox One, Xbox Series, PS4, and PS5 in 2023. Does Crash Team Rumble sound like a game you would be interested in?
I'm more of the platforming aspect of Crash Bandicoot than this Rumble Battle Royale type of gaming. When I think of Crash Bandicoot, I think of like platform games like Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, 3, Wrath, which is the Warped. There's also the Crash Bandicoot for the PS2, the Wrath of Cortex. Those games are very good to play even after decades later, and we're in our 30s, but we grew up on Crash Bandicoot, and it was a big thing. And then when Crash Team Race came around, now that's the exception right there. I like Crash Team Racing, and they did the same with Nitro Fuel, which is like pretty much a remake of the Pacific racing game of Crash Bandicoot. So that's the exception. But then this brawl stuff, this battle royale type of sense, I think we had that back like in the early 2010s with Crash Bandicoot, and they stopped making Crash Bandicoot games for a while until like 2018 with the trilogy pack, a remake of sorts.
2017, they said.
Okay, yeah, but the Crash Bandicoot 4 came out. It's about time. That came out
Yeah.
2 years ago. So I want to buy that game before I want to buy the Crash Team Rumble. So
Okay.
if I had my own son, I would definitely like have him play all the Crash Bandicoots and see how he likes it. So
He would probably be frustrated.
I have the
I have my PSP where I have the first two Crash Bandicoots loaded on there, so I can play Crash Bandicoot whenever I want. And it gets frustrating after a while.
especially the first Crash Bandicoot. That was the most challenging.
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah.
stuck on the level of the castle era, where if you try to like go through do that circle rotation thing, I get stuck on there, and along with the platform flattens out and slides down to the lower levels. That's very challenging right there. That's hard to get.
You probably made it further than me. The level I remember most getting to most recently in the first Crash Bandicoot was the Road to Nowhere.
Oh, that was a
There
challenge.
was that bridge, and then like the bridge was broken up, and then like enemies were on some parts that would try to not bump into you and knock you off. That's I think maybe I beat that level. So like I'm either stuck on that level or like a level or two after it.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, Crash Bash. Did you ever play that? Because
Never yet. I heard of the game though.
okay, because the thing is, it's Crash Bash kind of sounded like a party game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I'm thinking of Spyro Orange and Crash Purple, which were Game Boy Advance games. I played Spyro Orange. These two games were where Spyro and Crash had to team up to stop the plans of Ripto and Dr. Neo Cortex.
Definitely.
Basically, the villains of the two games teamed up, so after the first level, the two heroes team up.
Yeah, I heard it was a good crossover overall.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, to explain that game, there were 5 like mini games in each level, and you had to complete like 3 mini games before you could face the boss of that level. But every mini game you had to beat 3 times because the mini games got harder every time you beat them. So you didn't complete a mini game truly until you beat it 3 times.
At least 3.
No, 3 times because it didn't get any harder after the 3rd time you beat it.
Okay.
So yeah, party games, but I don't know about Crash fighting game. If it's a party game like Spyro Orange and Crash Purple was, that's one thing. But this also sounds like it might be a battle, like you said, a battle royale fighting game and I don't know who's interested in that.
Well, I'm sure the new Crash Bandicoot players will be like, that'll be a very awesome thing. But for us older gamers, we're like, yeah, that's not our cup of tea. But maybe if we had sons and daughters, we'll let them play. Like, go ahead, go, my little ones. But that's me. I'll be like, I'll just be sitting on the porch playing my portable PSP of hack Crash Bandicoot games, stuff like that.
Yeah. Back in my day.
Yeah, I'll probably have to hire someone to hack my. If I ever get a PSP, I'm gonna have to hire someone to hack it for me and put on my. PSP.
You don't have to. You don't have to. You don't actually have to hack it. What you could do. This is what I did. You would have to probably hack your PS3 to get back into the online store. Mm-hmm. Because what I did, I bought Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and Medieval off the PlayStation Store, the PlayStation Classics. Mm-hmm. So I have those games digitally on my PS3, and then I connected my PSP to my PS3 with a USB cord. Mm-hmm. Then I was able to transfer the games. They're still on my PS3, but they're on my PSP now. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's probably not possible anymore since the store was shut down.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. But then again, maybe you could get the ROMs, on your PSP instead.
Right.
So, but anyway, back to get back to what. Yeah, I just don't know who'd be asking for a Crash fighting game. I'd be more interested if it was a party game. But regardless what type of game it turns out to be, it's confirmed for last gen and current gen. So
yeah,
that's a good thing. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. New Behemoth trailer debuts at the 22 Game Awards. The high-flying VR adventure is set to launch later this year. Skydance Interactive debuted a new cinematic trailer for their upcoming game, Behemoth, at the 2022 Game Awards. The trailer gave players their first good look at the game since the release of its announcement trailer back in October. The VR adventure challenges players to traverse the remains of a once glorious empire using non-traditional travel methods like a grappling hook. Set just after a plague has ravaged the world, the game sees players facing off with an enormous monster called behemoths. Due to the size of their foes, players must traverse not only the landscape itself, but the massive enemies that roam the wilderness as well. We've learned a lot over the years about the unique challenges and strengths of VR, Skydance creative director Todd Adamson said in a recent press release. Behemoth is the culmination of a decade of work and is crafted for gamers that want a deep, all-encompassing experience that is specifically tailored to the medium. Led by the development team that brought players The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Behemoth is set to release on MetaQuest 2, PSVR 2, and PC VR in fall of 2023. More information can be found at the official Behemoth website. We'll play the trailer and then talk about it.
Alright.
Alright, I'm playing the trailer now.
There is no victory to be had here. There is only survival. The strength of your resolve is the only thing that will grant you another day. Another breath. This place is relentless. It devours everything. And soon, it will take your mind. I have found no meaning to this struggle. But when the end comes for you... not yield.
God damn.
Okay. Yeah. Almost like a little bit God of War in there, like when you have to climb a huge enemy as Kratos.
Or Lords of the Fallen, if you played it, sort of some of the trailers.
Yeah, so what do you think of Behemoth?
It looks good. I seen the trailer before earlier this month.
Okay.
Personally, myself, it's not my cup of tea altogether. I still play it, but it's just that, it's something where it's like, it's like a whatever game to me. It's like, okay, if it comes out, I'll try to get a copy or try to get some sort of deal, or like a certain deal for the game, like for about $30, $40, wherever it's on sale. So,
okay, yeah, this is kind of I'm not even sure what kind of game this is. Just from the trailer, because it looks like it's going to be melee weapons, but then climbing the monster at the end of the trailer. I feel like it raised more questions than answers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
About this game. But I'm definitely interested in this game. It sounds interesting. But yeah, it's piqued my interest. I can definitely say. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. New, the Lords of the Ring Fallen gameplay trailer debuts at the Game Awards. Hexworks and CI Games gave us our first glimpse at the new sequel's brutal world. After debuting their new project at Gamescom opening night live back in August, CI Games and Hexworks have revealed the first gameplay trailer for The Lords of the Fallen, which featured during the Game Awards on December 8th. The trailer, which was narrated by Millie Alcock of House of the Dragon fame, showcases the desolate world of the upcoming sequel, which is set 1,000 years after the original Lords of the Fallen, which launched in October of 2014. We not only see the hero's arsenal of attacks, but multiple enemy types and defensive options are also shown. The world of the Lords of the Fallen will be 5 times as large as its predecessor, and it will play host to a huge roster of non-playable characters to find and receive quests from an expansive RPG system. Combat alternates between familiar melee combat and magic, with a slew of offensive and defensive spells available throughout the game. Finally, the game will feature a full co-op online experience, which the official press release calls seamless world exploration, as well as a full state of customization options to allow players to build their warrior as they desire. The Lords of the Fallen will launch in 2023 for Xbox Series, PS5, and PC. Again, this came with a trailer, so gonna play that trailer and then we'll discuss.
Sure, Dave.
As soon as this advertisement is done, of course. Okay, here's the trailer playing. As soon as this done, of course. Okay, here's the trailer playing.
Holy Aureus, giver of life and light. In your divine radiance, we trust. Shield our souls with grace, our hearts with hope, and guide our path eternal. Turn our gaze from what lies beyond your luster, where wickedness dwells, and the shadows reign. Arm us with your golden splendor, so that together may we vanquish the darkness. In light, we walk.
Okay, so what do you think of that game?
Wishlist now.
I played with the original Lords of the Fallen for the 2014 Xbox One video game.
So what do you think of the game?
It looks...
What? How was that game? I never played it.
Well, I only played about, I would say, 30 minutes of the game. I will admit that. It's all right. I just haven't delved into the story as much. I saw the trailer as well as the intro to the game as well. It looks both good. You know, back in the day, that's back 10 years ago. And I saw this guy streaming it for a couple of hours, and it looked good on what he was doing in the gameplay and all. So add that to the current state of gaming. It's like seeing this trailer. I was like, I hope it looks good as it is in the gameplay. If we're hopeful, that is, and you know how it is. In most trailers, they show off the audio visuals and the special effects, stuff like that, but not the real gameplay of the matter. And that's what I hate about today's video game presentation. So it looks good on paper, it looks good as a concept, but we gotta see what the gameplay looks like first. And if it's way better in visuals than the original Lords of the Fallen, so be it. So yeah.
Yeah. So I've never played the original. This game, it looks interesting. Looks like any medieval setting, with knights and stuff.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. I've never played the first game. Unfortunately, this is next gen exclusive, as far as I can tell. this one. But like Dr. Games 101 said, the predecessor was 2014 Xbox One. So, I mean, I could always try the first game and see what I would think of the franchise.
Definitely. Yeah, it was available for Games of Gold back in 2016, 2017, give or take. So.
Okay, so yeah, but anyway, if you were a fan of this game, it's getting a sequel on next gen.
Is it
So
a reboot or a sequel?
it looks like a sequel.
It should say Lords of the Fallen 2, though. Something like that.
Yeah, that's true. Could have said that. But but it doesn't say that. So I'm assuming it's a sequel. Again, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it's but it looks like it's already in the middle of a story, which is why I think it's a sequel.
Okay.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next, Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon announced at the Game Awards. A new game in the Armored Core series is coming back from Software. A new From Software game was announced at this year's Game Awards, but it's not another iteration of the Soulsborns we've come to expect from the studio. Instead, From is going back to its roots with a new entry in its mecha shooter series called Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon. The brief teaser trailer showed a ruined world followed by some glamour shots of big stompy robots, as well as other giant mechanized behemoths, which is what you would want from a mecha game. That's all it said. That was a short article. So we're going to have to go to the trailer just to find out,
Right.
I didn't expect the trailer to be I didn't expect the article to be that short.
And that's how it is in recent times. There's like half-page articles here, 3/4 page at best. So.
All right. Well, here's the trailer for Armored Core 6. Okay, I gotta be honest. this is not a game I find myself interested in, even after the trailer.
Really?
Yeah. Are you interested in this?
I've been hearing Armored Core games since I was like a teenager, and it's like kind of reminds me of Gundam a bit, but it's more the down to earth approach. Like it's more like a realism type of feeling, more than a fantasy or a what if scenario. Because Gundam is based off of like what fiction in a sense, whereas Armored Core 6 is like more of like the actuality of things, like the future of the apocalypse, and and after the apocalypse, whoever survives, these machines will rise up to the occasion to sustain human, decency and human race of sorts. This is my perspective, of course, just from what I can tell from how many Armored Core games. The last time we had an Armored Core game altogether was since 2014, 2013, so this is a good 10 years in the making. So this is what I found out about Armored Core 6. So it looks good, but the problem, though, what I hate about these Game Award trailers is that they show off the visuals of, like, the cutscenes at best of the game, but not the gameplay of itself. So it looks good, like I said, don't get me wrong, it's just that every single time, since Anthem, since Fallout 76, since one of the games, even other games, like what's that called? We don't even remember anything anymore with some games. It's like I can't remember them because that's how unforgettable they are. Because of the way they threw out that, like Watch Dogs, for example. We saw the Watch Dogs back in 2013. What's it called? E3 and stuff like that. E3 conference. They said about it. And next year, it's when it came out on Xbox and PS4. We're like, what the fuck? Like, this is not the visuals that we looked at on screen on their presentation. So I don't know. Fool me twice. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 or more billion times, shame on all of us.
I think it's the other way around for 1 and 2, but I get your point. Yeah, but I mean that seems to be the thing with all trailers mostly, because like even when we looked at the trailer for A Plague Tale Requiem, that was mostly all cutscenes, if not all cutscenes.
Yes.
And but like I said, Armored Core, I've never been interested in the franchise myself. And like I said, the article didn't really even give that much information on what we can expect from this new Armored Core game.
Oh yeah.
So but I'm still not interested even after what I saw.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a good addition to the franchise. Don't get me wrong, Armored Core. It's just that it's not my mainstay type of following of the game. Like I don't follow Armored Core like that. So
yeah, ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, next. Diablo 4 June 2023 release date confirmed at the Game Awards. Blizzard's sequel is 6 months away, with a new report stating developers are being incentivized to work long hours in order to see it over the finish line. There's no trailer for this Diablo 4 game. Diablo 4 will be released on June 6, 2023, as announced in a new trailer that debuted during the Game Awards. I couldn't find a video of it. That official announcement followed shortly after a report documenting the challenges Blizzard employees have faced over the course of the game's development, which had mentioned the release date. The Washington Post reports Diablo 4 was originally slated to arrive in April of 2023, but that the team felt it needed more time and was able to get the June date approved. However, there's still work to be done on Diablo 4, with the Post reporting that while it is not being required, the development team is being incentivized to work long hours and crunch on the project due to various stock bonuses that will be paid out once Diablo 4 releases and are at least partly based on performance. According to one Blizzard employee quoted in the article, Blizzard is not willing to delay the game anymore. So the team will have to figure out how much we're willing to hurt ourselves to make sure the game gets released in a good enough state. An internal company email from November sent to the Diablo 4 team acknowledged that the development team was moving into a period where some people may put in some extra hours. Blizzard looked to bring in additional help to get Diablo 4 over the finish line in the form of the Activision-owned developer Vicarious Visions, now known as Blizzard Albany. However, the integration process has been described as bumpy, which has led to duplicate work, according to the Post. Blizzard is expected to officially announce Diablo 4's release date at the Game Awards. In a recent Diablo 4 hands-on preview, we said the upcoming ARPG seems to be on the right track and delivers on its promise of giving players far more agency than before in how they both play and build their favorite characters. My question is, with the Activision Blizzard acquisition possibly happening or not possibly happening, what happens to the development team that's working on Diablo 4 once the acquisition happens, if the acquisition goes through?
Most likely laid off.
Dr. Games 101, what do you think about this?
Most likely they'll be laid off.
Well, then who would be working on this game?
Good point. and it's coming out June 2023. That sounds so soon. You know?
Yeah.
And they did play a trailer at the Game Awards show of Diablo 4, so...
Yeah, I couldn't find a video of the trailer on YouTube, so... Yeah, when I was getting these articles together, so...
Yeah, some of these trailers are one of the Game Awards shows, so I saw half of it. I heard the last half of the Game Awards show. And like I said, as always, these trailers, they get these great, epic trailers of these games, and all of a sudden, weeks, months later after release of the game, we find out that's not what it's cracked up to be. You know, it's just like a failed state of a game every time. From Anthem to Fallout 76, you know, it's like over and over. It's like, yeah, I'm getting tired of like watching good looking trailers, but no gameplay in it, no actual, you know, coverage of the game. It's just, it sucks, you know. That's all I got to say about Diablo 4. Like Diablo 4, that game's supposed to have been out how many years after Diablo 3, so and 2 especially. So it's like, you know, I don't know, man.
And instead they made that Diablo mobile game, which no one wanted.
Yeah, that was a huge blow to the fan base. Now I myself not gonna buy the Diablo game or games because it came with Games with Gold at one point. I think it was Diablo 2 or 3. So it was definitely Diablo 2 most likely because it was part of like this special offer where you play for free for a few days. Like it's like one of those not free to play, but it's like one of those time exclusive type of fashions where you play for a few hours and you buy the full game after that. So, but yeah, that was back then, of course. So
yeah, so so Diablo 4, it's if I was on that development team, I would have questions like, you know, how do we know, you know, what's going to happen to us? Say the acquisition goes through next week, you know, do we still have to finish this game, or is someone else going to come in and pick up where we left off? And then on top of that, they said no more delays. June is it's got to come out in June.
oh yeah.
So yeah, it's all up in the air right now because and especially after the Diablo mobile debacle that no one wanted.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any interest in the Diablo games personally.
I did play Diablo 2, if not Diablo 3. And I forget which one, though, because it came out for the 360 first, then for the Xbox One a year later. So I just looked into that, man. I was like, it's got to be Diablo 2, most likely, because Diablo 3, it's like, you know, there was something where there was like a definitive edition for Diablo 2 later in the decade of 2010s, about 2016, 2017, give or take. And then by Diablo 3 came out, which is 2012, you know, it kind of went over to Xbox One for its definitive edition as well, too. So I could be wrong about the matter, though.
Yeah, so, yeah, this is, yeah, so, I guess we'll find out more about this game as we get closer to June. Mm-hmm. I just hope they're not releasing a broken product just to get it out there.
As always, there's going to be some problems with the game.
Yep. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 gameplay trailer revealed at the Game Awards. Space Marine 2 will arrive in 2023 on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. This I was able to find a video of the trailer. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2's gameplay trailer premiered at the Game Awards. In it, Captain Titus went head-to-head with wave after wave of alien lifeforms called Tyranids. Space Marine 2, developed by Saber Interactive, is a long-awaited sequel to the 2011 Space Marine game. The trailer mostly showcased the fast-paced action, as well as the huge building Captain Titus will fight aliens in. It's available to wishlist on Steam right now. Space Marine 2 was actually first announced at the Game Awards in 2021, but without release year attached at the time. Much of the gameplay seems very similar to the original Space Marine, which means players can expect both melee and shooter action and slashing through big wave of alien hordes. Saber Interactive is more recently known for World War Z, a co-op zombie shooter. Space Marine was rated 7 out of 10 in GameSpot's Space Marine review. Reviewer Kevin Van Ord praised the game for its fun combination of melee and shooter actions, but criticized its dull narrative and roster of characters. Space Marine 2 will release in 2023 on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Like I said, I have the trailer, so we'll watch the trailer and then discuss it.
Sure thing.
The horrors that dwell in the darkness. While we draw breath, we stand. While we stand, we fight. We are the angels of death. We are the blade drawn against the endless night. Nothing will survive our wrath.
Alright, what do you think of the Space Marine game, Space Marine 2, actually?
I never played any of the Space Marine games of Warhammer 40k of its fullness. I played the demo version of Warhammer 40k Space Marine back in like 2011, maybe 2012.
Yeah, I played the original also.
Yeah, so it looked alright. You know, the first game of Warhammer 40k of the Space Marine. As far as I'd be playing it longer, I couldn't because I couldn't afford it back then. The Space Marine, the first Space Marine game. I played Defiant. That's somewhat in relation to what we're talking about, but that's a separate game for itself. So excuse me about that. Yeah, it's all right. The Space Marine 2 trailer. You know, like I said, I wish it was nice to put some gameplay in it. You know.
It did look like some gameplay, but it did say alpha footage.
Okay. All right then.
But the first Space Marine was basically about shooting orcs and stuff. So it looks like you'll be taking on different enemies. You could do melee attacks and shooter attacks. I stuck to shooter in the first Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine game. Mm-hmm. Space Marine 2, it looks... they said attacks is going to be basically the same thing, but it looks like it's going to be a completely different story. It doesn't look like we're dealing with orcs or ogres or, anything from the first game. So it looks like it's going to be a completely different story than what the first, the predecessor was.
Oh, it was connected somehow.
Yeah, somehow, yeah. I do agree the story was dull. It was basically it was a shooter. That was the appeal of the first game to me. So hopefully maybe they can have a more interesting story this time.
And speaking of Warhammer altogether, games like Vermintide 2, I heard they did good as well on their sales as well as the quality of the game. So I think I have Vermintide 1 and 2 part of my library, but I might have to pay for it again because it was part of the games with gold, if not like a discount at one point. So I must have missed the discount sale.
I don't remember which Vermintide it was, but you should have one of them unless you just missed out on the games with gold the month it was.
Yeah.
But it was offered as a game with gold one time. That's how I got one of the Vermintide games myself.
Right.
Yeah. So Space Marine 2. It's next. It's this. It's. I really shouldn't say next gen. It's current gen exclusive. But yeah, hopefully this time it'll have a better story than the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did find the story. I don't even remember the story. That's how dull it was.
It was that forgettable.
Yeah. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Oh. That's Tekken 8 gameplay trailer at the Game Awards confirms return of Jun Kazama. Jun hasn't been available playable in a core Tekken game since Tekken 2. Fists were flying at the Game Awards tonight as the first gameplay trailer for Tekken 8 was shown off at the event. I don't have a trailer for this one. The trailer introduced the story of the game, which sees Kazuya Mishima assume the head of Mishima Zaibatsu after the death of his father Heihachi in the previous game. Multiple returning characters were shown, including Paul Phoenix, Law, Jack, King, and Lars. Most surprising was the appearance of Jun Kazuma, Jin's mother, who has not appeared in an in-core Tekken game since Tekken 2, although she did appear in Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Tekken 8 was first confirmed at EVO 2022 in August with a teaser that only lasted a few seconds and featured longtime antagonist Kazuya Mishima, now the big bad of the series after his final clash with his father Heihachi Mishima in Tekken 7 and the franchise's iconic phrase, "Get ready for the next battle." More details would be revealed during the PlayStation State of Play in September, which showed off some impressive gameplay of Kazuya and his son Jin Kazama trading blows with each other. While each mainline Tekken game has been a visual showcase using the latest technology, Tekken 8 looks set to go a step further with how it renders characters. All the characters' models, backgrounds, and effects seen in the September trailer are the same ones that are used in-game, and some of the new details include small details like how the water droplets run down a character's skin. Stages have more dynamic effects playing in the background, and you can even see muscles popping as the two Mishimas unleash their best attacks on each other. Tekken 8 is the latest entry in a long-running fighting games franchise since 2017's Tekken 7 was released, and it will relaunch on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. So I'm assuming this is a game you would be excited about, Tekken 8.
I was surprised it's coming out so soon, though. I was expecting the crossover of Tekken X Street Fighter, not Street Fighter Tekken X, because
Tekken Cross Street Fighter came out like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, there must be a Tekken X Street Fighter as a sequel to that.
Well, the thing is, it even though the title was pronounced Tekken Cross Street Fighter, it was displayed as Tekken X Street Fighter.
What I'm trying to say, Triple J, is that it was supposed because the original game, Street Fighter X Tekken, that was supposed to be like a crossover game, the first crossover game, and then Tekken X Street Fighter was supposed to be the sequel to that particular matter. The last time I checked, that's what I was anticipating for that matter. But I see that
I didn't know that there was a second crossover game even.
It's supposed to come out sometime this decade because it was already done. Some of it was done back in around early 2010s. Rumor has it, like about 2% at best. But other than that, after whatever the next Tekken is supposed to be was Tekken 7. It's supposed to be like a crossover again. This time it's the Tekken graphics. That's what I learned.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Like with Tekken 8, it's unexpected. I'm still trying to understand more about the story of Tekken 7 to some extent. It's good that they brought in Akuma as a special guest, and they told the story about how Akuma took part in Tekken 7. But other than that, I was expecting, like I said, it's too soon. It's the game. I know it's been like 30 years almost since Tekken 1 came out, and I've been playing this since Tekken 2, and I've always gained experience since Tekken 3 and 4. Personally, myself, I'm anticipating for Tekken 8. Don't get me wrong, but I always wanted to play the crossover of Tekken X Street Fighter that was promised by sometime this decade. And if you dig into your research, Triple J, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, oh, that game, okay. Because, like I said, they already had Soul Calibur 6. We had Street Fighter 5. Now Street Fighter 6 is coming out next year. So it's kind of so much content of fighting games outright this second that Tekken 8 is like too soon for the matter. I'd rather wait until Tekken X Street Fighter comes out and then Tekken 8. That's how I look at it. So.
Okay. Tekken 8 on the other hand, like I said, I really have not enjoyed Tekken games since Tekken 4. When we're just talking about the mainline games, 5 was awful. 6, the story bored me to tears, and I never even tried Tekken 7 because of how bad I thought 5 and 6 were.
Tekken 5 had a good story with Jinpachi and all. Tekken 6 is kind of like all over the place because you have to play the actual Lars mode with Alyssa Paskanovich and all. That story mode, whatever it's called, and it's connected with other Tekken fighters. But it wasn't all that great with playing that story mode.
Yeah, I tried to give Tekken 6 story mode a second chance years later, and I couldn't care less.
Yeah, but after Tekken 6, they brought back the story, a rich story of Tekken 7, where it involves Haji Mishima and Kazuya Mishima, and they were fighting each other and stuff like that to the bitter end. And then Kuma came in and he fucked shit up, and it was very good. It was like they were like powering up, like and fucking exploded volcanoes and shit. Like it was, you guys see the ending. It's amazing, man. I was like, wow. Speaking of epic fighting, I know I shouldn't mention this guy at all because he's just a typical gamer, but he's also a veteran of the army. He showed me this video promo of Akuma and a crossover with some other games. It was like they were fighting each other to a bitter death too. So it's like it was around the time of Street Fighter X Tekken was still a big thing. And it was like, wow, you had these promo videos and what if scenarios. I don't know what they were doing back then. It was amazing to me. If I can find that video for you guys, if I know the title of the video, but it's somewhere on the internet. It's not on YouTube per se, most likely. He shared with me some other website, but it was amazing. It involved Kuma, involved Ryu, it involved a little bit of Tekken characters. It was amazing. Like it wasn't like what you see on YouTube. It's like it's a special thing, whatever. So. Kind of like that movie back in Tekken, for the Tekken movie. Not the one from the 1990s, the one from like 2012, 2013, give or take.
I think 2010, actually.
Okay, because it was like a prequel / sequel to Tekken 6 and all, so,
Okay, the 2010 Tekken movie, it seems so... did you see that movie?
Is it the live action one you're referring to?
Yeah.
No, not the live action one. I didn't see that one yet. I saw a trailer of the CGI version. It's a CGI movie of involving Alyssa Paskanovich and Lin Yu teaming up and looking out for each other and stuff. So that was the main shtick of the story.
Okay, well, in the live action, I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but Jin and Christy ended up kind of looking out for each other, especially since the assassins Nina and Anna were out to get Jin, because they were assassins. And the thing is, it kind of looked like it was almost building a love story between Jin and Christy, and then like at the end, when they could have went ahead with it, they just end up splitting paths. And it's just like, what did I just watch the last hour for?
It's like the Leon and Claire of Resident Evil Degeneration, that movie, CGI movie, and because Leon and Claire teamed up in Resident Evil 2 and all, and you think them to come back together as a partner relationship, husband and wife thing. No.
Or at least a Chris and Jill kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we thought too that Jill and Chris Jill and Chris of Resident Evil. Jill and Chris of Resident Evil, excuse me, okay. I know I'm not mixing the stories up. Excuse me, but I'm hyped up for this game too of Tekken 8. So, but getting back to the point, Jill and Chris, it was obvious that they lived for each other and stuff like that. Especially in Resident Evil 1, if you play the game properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nothing like with Claire and Leon. They just like look out for each other too, but not in a sexual like promiscuity matter and stuff like that.
Not even in a romantic sense.
Yeah, not even romantic. It's just like it's just like they saw each other at the airport, kicking ass with zombies. That's about it. They still go separate ways afterwards.
Yeah, it's like see you next time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
yeah.
Leon has his eyes on Ada Wong most of the time, if not all the time. That's why he couldn't pursue Ashley Graham or even Claire Redfield. So.
Ashley was kind of young. I mean, she was like, I mean, when she was even when you were rescuing her, I think she was like, what, 16?
I'm not sure the exact age, but she did give Leon an offer. Like, hey, they were like on the jet skis, and she was like, oh, how about we spend some time together? She said, something like that. And he's like, sorry, I'm not going after another girl, you know? That was 8.
Well, I would have chosen Claire if I had my choice, but I digress.
I was talking about Street Fighter with Tekken and all this other shit and Resident Evil.
Tekken, Street Fighter, Resident Evil. Back to Tekken 8, which was the subject.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like I said, the story of Tekken 5 and Tekken 6 really destroyed the love I had for the Tekken games. But to be fair, I never did try 7. So if 7 was better than 6's god awful boring story,
dude, they were on sale Tekken 7 for the PC and the Xbox for about PC I got for about $8, and then for the Xbox One it was about $10. So
yeah, but I wouldn't care if it was $5. You know. I don't want to buy a game, but the last 2 games were disappointments.
Oh, you're not going to be disappointed in 100%. You will be disappointed in some cases, but you'll see that they're trying to wrap up the full story of the Tekken series to some extent, if you want to look at it from a personal perspective. So, all
right. Ready to move on?
I also want to say, too, guys, is that if you're a big fan of Tekken in the past, try playing the after Tekken 3, like play through Tekken 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you can't stand Tekken 6, it's okay. There's not much going on in Tekken 6 that I'm aware of that ruins the ending of the story of Tekken 7. So Tekken 7 is kind of like the end all be all between the families involved, and also Jun with Tekken 8 coming out. Jun, I'm surprised they brought back Jun because in Tekken 2 to Tekken 3, after the events of Tekken 2, she got beheaded by Ogre, which is like the boss in Tekken 3. So Jin gave his avenge his mother and stuff like that. But they make the story in and out with this Jun being alive. I'm like, what? But we saw her with the head of being beheaded and shit like that. Like, how do you fuck that up? Like, come on, guys. Come on, Namco, Bandai, whoever they are. You know, like, you guys fucked up the story. Now, don't get me wrong, I like to see Jun in Tekken 8, or at least the first time in, 15 years now? But fuck's sake, man, it was left alone for 15 years. Unless you can do some sort of, like a story, like a short film of Jun's past, and then how she survived Ogre and the fight in Tekken 3 and shit like that, or whatever the case may be. Okay, you can do that, and then do Tekken 8. But don't just put in Jun because, it's going to be a shocker to the Tekken fans, the longtime Tekken fans like me. So, that's all I got to say.
All right. Yeah, so, ready to move on?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Next, Final Fantasy 16, which we do have a trailer for, debuts at the Game Awards, confirms June 22nd release date. You won't have to wait too long to explore the world of Final Fantasy 16. In the final world premiere announcement at this year's The Game Awards, Final Fantasy 16 producer Naoki Yoshida revealed a new trailer for the game, which he called Revenge, and included an official June 22nd, 2023 release date for the upcoming RPG. The trailer showed more of the fast-action gameplay we've seen in previous trailers, as well as a glimpse of espers that players will find throughout the adventure. The horseback riding Esper appears to be Odin, while a new demonic Esper is seen attacking hero Clive Rosfield. Later in the trailer, Rosfield summons an Esper of his own in Ifrit and uses him in battle. Speculation on a Final Fantasy XVI release date first began back when main director Hiroshi Takai said that the game was 95% finished, which was followed by the game being rated in Brazil. According to the original listing, Final Fantasy XVI's more mature direction will include sex scenes that are not fully shown and plenty of violence, including blood, intentional deaths, torture, victim suffering, and even hate crimes. To make all the snowflakes cry. For more on the game, which will be a PS5 exclusive for at least 6 months, you can check out the previous Ambition trailer that showed off more of the epic icon battles that will be waged between the dominants. Development on Final Fantasy XVI features an all-star cast of developers joining Yoshida and Takai and includes Devil May Cry 5's Ryota Suzuki as the game's combat director, art director Hiroshi Minagawa, and Final Fantasy XVI's Masayoshi Soken, who's composing the music for this game. Alright, we'll look at the trailer and then discuss it. Mm-hmm. And playing the trailer now. We'll look at the trailer and then discuss it. Mm-hmm. And playing the trailer now.
Yeah, the trailer looks gonna look good.
I'm going to hold the enemy here while you make your escape.
Yeah, the trailer looks good.
Your Highness! Run! No!
Clive!
Joshua! Revenge is a weapon. I sometimes wonder if I am controlling it, or if it's controlling me. No matter how bitter the truth that awaits me, I will press on. Good boy.
What do we do?
The usual. 13 years I've waited for this chance. I would be dying today. Come to me, Ifrit!
That's epic. That's epic. Good old Final Fantasy 16.
Yep, but right now, or at least they said for the first 6 months, as you can see, it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Wow, that sucks.
Will it come to Xbox after that? Who knows?
Yeah, it has to. It's a time exclusive.
Yeah. But what do you think of what we saw with Final Fantasy 16?
Well, it's a good 35 years in the making, and I'm glad that at this age in my life right now, I can see all the Final Fantasies at one time, up to Final Fantasy 15, and now it's soon to be 16, and it got much better since the first game of Final Fantasy. So it's I'm glad that I'm alive to this point to see all this good stuff happening from Star Wars, whether it's good or bad, Tekken, good or bad. Now Final Fantasy, good and bad. So It's now, I will admit I don't own all the Final Fantasy games, obviously, because it's not physically impossible, just that I don't have the space for it right now. But if it's on if it's a digital storefront like that of Xbox Store, like the Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 13, 13.2, Lightning Returns, and at one point I owned them, especially Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 13, but it's just Games with Gold. They got rid of that, and I had to pay regular price. It sucks. It sucks, man. I had high hopes to play more of Final Fantasy 13, but Final Fantasy 16, it's gonna be interesting to see how good it is. I did the most recent game that came out of any Final Fantasy game to my awareness was what's something called the Dirge, not Dirge Cerebus. No, that's not it. It's the it's like a bloody fate Final Fantasy. It's called something of that sort. It wasn't all that great. The demo version, and it wasn't all that great. I don't know what they were thinking of. It was more of a filler than more of an actual Final Fantasy game. So,
all right. Well, when I was reading the article, I recognized the name Ifrit. That was one of the names. That was the names of one of your Guardian forces in Final Fantasy VIII.
Right.
And this game, it looks pretty good. It looks a lot like a lot of fun. I haven't really gotten into a Final Fantasy game since the first 13 game. I always meant to get into Final Fantasy 13-2 and Lightning Returns, but just never did. But this game, it looked awesome. Unfortunately, we'll have to hope this game comes to Xbox Game Pass if we want to try it out.
Definitely.
Or unless we have the money to shell out for a PS5 or Xbox Series, and even then, it's exclusive on PS5 for now when it comes out in June.
Oh yeah.
So there's no chance of it going to any other system until 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord gets first gameplay trailer at the Game Awards. Yep, I have a trailer. I ain't afraid of no VR ghost. The Ghostbusters Renaissance continues as the debut trailer for Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord was revealed during the Game Awards. Developed by Endreams, Rise of the Ghost Lord will be coming to MetaQuest 2 and PlayStation VR 2 in 2023 and takes place in San Francisco. As the newest Ghostbuster on the block, you'll have access to all the usual tools of the trade. PKE meters, proton packs, and neutrino wands that fire beams which you definitely should not ever cross as you hunt down phantoms that are refusing to cross over to the other side. You'll be able to play the game solo, or if you're feeling social, with up to 3 other friends in co-op mode. With today's trailer, we're giving the very first look at what awaits our future Ghostbuster recruits before they step into the boiler suit and take part in the most immersive Ghostbusting game to date, Jake Sims, Sony Pictures Entertainment Virtual Reality VP said. Only in VR can players truly feel what it's like to cause chaos with the proton wand while working together with teammates to avoid pesky mini-puffs, blast frightful ghosts, and save the city. Ghostbusters has made a big comeback over the last couple of years as the latest feature film. Ghostbusters Afterlife was a box office hit, and a sequel is in development. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, a 4 vs. 1 multiplayer game, launched on October 21st, and there's even a full-size replica proton pack from Hasbro that's scheduled to arrive in spring 2023. For anyone looking to bust some ghosts when Rise of the Ghost Lord arrives next year, you'll be able to grab a PSVR 2 headset and controllers from February 22nd when the bundle goes on sale for $550. Yeah, so here's the trailer for Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord. So here's the trailer for Ghostbusters: Rise.
San Francisco. The city by the bay is under siege by forces not of this world. We need new heroes. Fearless recruits with the guts to look evil in the eye. Who we gonna call? You.
Here we go. PKE meters out.
I got a few hits. Poker on me.
Blast it. Okay.
Behind you. Trap out.
That's very interactive.
That was close.
Okay. That's very
Need a
interactive.
bigger trap.
I like how the Ghost even put on a from the Ghostbusters logo put on a VR headset.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool too.
All right, we don't have we don't have PS5 or PS VR headset, so we won't be able to try this unless we somehow come into a lot of money. But would you want to? How do you feel about these virtual reality games in general?
It would be a first time ever experience for me because I never had actual virtual reality experience before in my life yet. So,
All right, yeah, I mean, it's a lot better than what it used to be. But yeah, this game looks great. It does. Unfortunately, there's no way I would be able to afford it because, like they said, the bundle's going to cost $550 with the headset and the controller, and then the game. But for people who can afford it, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
oh yeah,
I really would be looking forward to this if I could afford it.
definitely.
Ready to move on?
I just want to say though that when it comes to the VR experience, one day I will try to get a PS5 with a VR 2, especially, and go back on backwards compatible games if they make it backwards compatible like that of Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 4 remake. Because Resident Evil 4 remake is coming out next year, I heard. So that'd be just in time to see if I can get my hands on a VR set and try out the experience in of a different setting. Not different setting, but a different remaking of the setting. And it's gonna be an interesting experience with playing these type of games. And if I recall correctly, isn't it like a Ghostbusters game that came out earlier this year as well? Or that's next year with the VR set.
I think that's next year.
Oh, okay. All right then.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Next, Judas, new game from the creators of BioShock, announced at the Game Awards. Players got their first look at Ken Levine's creation via the Game Awards. This one also has a trailer. The holidays have come early for BioShock fans after a launch trailer for Ken Levine's new game was revealed at the 2022 Game Awards called Judas. Levine's new narrative-driven game is unrelated to the BioShock franchise, but shares many visual similarities to the series, something longtime Levine fans are sure to appreciate. The trailer itself follows the game's female protagonist, Judas, as she struggles to survive on a damaged starship. The psychological thriller FPS features gameplay mechanic and a visual aesthetic similar to BioShock's, something that's sure to be a crowd pleaser. The trailer doesn't go into too much detail regarding the plot of the game, but we know that as Judas, players must decide whether or not to trust other characters while fighting for a chance to fix what was broken, presumably a reference to the starship Judas lives on. Earlier this year, Levine was playing his cards close to the chest, claiming that he didn't want to reveal anything about the game until its launch date was closer. We didn't want to go down the path of showing the game too early because we thought it was going to be out sooner, and I don't want to have a long period of having a build-up interest and hype because it just doesn't. It would end up feeling fairly inauthentic, and I think that gamers want to know what they're getting, and the only way to do that really is to announce closer to launch, he said in January 2022. Judas can now be added to Steam wishlist and will be available on Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and PC upon its release. Currently, no release date is listed on Steam or the Epic Game Store, but based on Levine's previous comments about launch dates, it's likely it will be announced relatively soon. So here's the trailer for Judas.
Okay.
Okay, after the advertisement. For Judas.
Okay.
Okay, after the advertisement.
The ship is dying. The ship. And my only way out of here. The ship. And my only way out of here. The ship. And my only way out of here. The ship. And my only way out of here.
You guys are watching. 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 Fix what you broke. Damn straight, right? Fix what you broke.
Yeah.
Damn straight, right? Finish the fight.
Yeah.
Damn straight, right? Finish the fight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I definitely saw the graphics that look like Bioshock, a Bioshock setting. What do you think of this game?
It looks good. It's have to say it looks very confused at the same time weird. It says eat their cookies. See these interracial couple. It's about to kiss each other with cookies and all. I'm like, what's going on? I was like, I hope this game will turn out to be one of the weirdest experiences I'll ever have in my life, and I'm sure it'll be worth every penny for it by far.
Yeah, that was weird. Also, the guy flying out in space, just I don't know if he was still alive at that point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this game, it's going to be narrative driven, so I'm guessing you're going to have to end up choosing who you trust to have a chance to fix what you broke. But yeah, it definitely looks interesting to me, and like I said, with things like the cookie reference, that's definitely looks like it's right at Bioshock Infinite.
Okay.
So I definitely see the resemblance to Bioshock. But we'll learn more about the game as more time passes between now and its release date.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on, or?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. GTA Online's Los Santos Drug War. A new story begins on December 13th, which was 4 days ago. It sounds like players' culinary skills and chemistry knowledge will be put to the test. GTA Online is getting a new two-part story update revolving around the psychedelic drug trade called Los Santos Drug War. The story's intro will arrive on December 13th and includes new missions, business, and cars. In this new update, players will go to Blaine County and meet up with Nervous Ron. He'll be with a group of people looking to get a slice of the Los Santos psychedelic drug trade, and you're down to both create said drugs and fight off a coalition of multi-hippies and trigger-happy bikers. Players can expect a variety of updates, Rockstar said, including holiday-themed ones. We'll need to wait for another cheekily written blog post to see what these new activities look like. Rockstar has been keeping the online component of GTA 5 fed with regular weekly updates and the occasional bigger story expansions like this Los Santos drug war. One of the last major updates has been the Criminal Enterprise, released back in July. Just as the name suggests, it was an expansion with plenty of opportunity to commit crimes, though that applies to Los Santos drug war and GTA in general. GTA Online also recently received quality of life updates. Most are minor, with ray tracing now supported for PS5 and Xbox Series. So, what do you think of this Los Santos drug war expansion? I guess.
It's like a good depiction of what's it like over by the Mexican border. It's like every few months we see like incidents happen where it's just like Operation Fast and Furious occur, where the government gives guns to the cartel and then fight them off with the drug trade and stuff like that. Kind of like that matters. So I'll probably but to but to have that moment of like what's like at the border every single few months. Having these standoffs and gang wars and stuff like that, because it was a big thing back 30 years ago, and this was before the internet. No one didn't know what was up with it at the border until like the last 10 to 15 years now, and in detail that is. So yeah, I would like to see this GTA Online manifest itself into something greater, and then hopefully they'll have a sequel called GTA Online Part 2 or GTA Online Square for the GTA 6 game coming out sometime next, God knows how many years from now. Could be until the earliest 2024, no later than 2027. So we never know yet. So, but yeah, but that leak with the stories with GTA 6, that was a big spoiler right there. So hopefully they can reorganize the fashion and keep up to date with this GTA Online stuff. So
Yeah. So this sounds like an interesting story. But and they've never really gone this direction with a Grand Theft Auto game. Not that I remember, anyway. I mean, maybe the closest thing was Vice City, which was just a spin-off of Scarface, anyway.
Right.
But Vice City was more about buying property instead of getting involved in the drug trade. So
yeah.
Yeah. So Grand Theft Auto, they're not slowing down. We'll have more news on them shortly. Anything else to say about this, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right. Next, Hades 2 announced by Supergiant Games at the Game Awards. The next Supergiant game is a sequel to Hades. Supergiant's next game, Hades 2, a sequel to the hit Hades game, was revealed at the Game Awards. Hades 2 will be set in the same universe with what looks like some new faces from the Greek pantheon and similar roguelike gameplay. The game is currently in development. Unlike the first Hades game, Hades 2 features a female protagonist, Melinoa, who is Zagreus' sister and is called the Princess of the Underworld. The trailer opens with her training with the masked mentor, and it's revealed that their joint objective is to kill Kronos. New character Moros, Doom Incarnate, comments that this is an opportunity for the protagonist to make a better future for us all. Other new faces like Nemesis and Apollo make short appearances in the trailer. A few of the characters also refer to the protagonist as a witch, giving more hints as to what her arsenal of weapons may look like. Kronos is the god of time and appears to be the primary antagonist. Hades' voice narrates, "He is no mere titan. He is time itself, and time cannot be stopped." Melino ends the teaser by saying, "Wait for me, father. We'll be there soon." Hades 2 is available to wishlist on Steam and the Epic Store. It's so far only confirmed on PC, but is planned for consoles as well. Supergiant says it will share more information about availability on other platforms at a later date. According to the Steam page, Supergiant Game plans to develop Hades 2 in a similar way to Hades and incorporate player feedback. That means Hades 2 should enter early access at some point in the future. Alright, this is the last trailer I have for any of the stories tonight. I'll play it and then talk about it.
Good.
Not good enough.
We can but learn. And the greatest teacher is out there. Now go. Death to Kronos.
Death to Kronos.
Female protagonist now? Wow.
Yep.
This is an opportunity for you to make a better future for us all. The least I can do is light
Female protagonist now? Wow. Yep.
About ready to give in?
No, I was born for this.
You trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch.
Okay, if I call you witch like that.
Vengeance for your family awaits you.
He is no mere titan. He is time itself, and time cannot be stopped.
Wait for me, Father. I'll be this.
Alright.
Wow, so it's a female instead. I could have sworn that, if I recall correctly, the first Hades game I played, it was a male protagonist. Because Hades was a male god, not a goddess. So
It might have been. It's God if it's male, goddess if it's female.
yeah, but still, it's like I played Hades before. I did a gameplay of it on my gaming channel last year or two, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm looking at the newest one, which is the Hades 2, and I'm like, you're not gonna bring back the same guy beforehand? It's kind of weird. So hopefully they'll bring back the character of the original Hades character of the game franchise, that is of the video games. So it's, I don't know. It would be nice if they can keep it consistent. Hopefully we'll see a special guest of the original Hades of this game. So
All right. Yeah, it kind of looked like games like Vermintide or Victor Ran, when the character was running around fighting enemies. Those games are good. So this game really looks interesting.
you think if it's Vermintide? Wow.
The gameplay, like when you were running around and when the character was running around and like the open world, that's kind of what it made me think of.
Oh, okay. So you never played the first Hades game before, huh?
No, I've never played the first Hades game.
Yeah, it's good. You should try and get a copy if you can. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, but this game also, Hades 2, looks interesting. I'm interested to hear more about the sequel. So yeah. So keep an eye out. We'll be hearing, listening to see if more news on Hades 2 comes out in the future.
Definitely.
Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. We got about 5-6 more stories for tonight. Kid arrested after sneaking on stage at the Game Awards. What just happened? The Game Awards went pretty much without a hiccup until the very bizarre end. It appears that a random kid ended up on stage with the Elden Ring team and interrupted by mumbling something completely unrelated to the evening's proceedings into the mic. After the Game Awards ended, host Jeff Keighley confirmed that this individual has been arrested. It's unclear what he exactly said, though Bill Clinton seemed to be mentioned, but it is clear that he was not part of the Elden Ring entourage who went up to accept the Game of the Year award. As the team was making their way towards the stage, you can see the kid go up the stairs with the Elden Ring crew, even patting one of the devs on the dev's back as he gets on stage. He mostly remained quiet until Hidetaka Miyazaki finished his speech. It does appear that the kid was noticed since the cameras cut to a wide shot and security looked as if they were moving towards the stage. So it is surprising that he wasn't stopped or pulled off the stage earlier, or at the very least had his mic cut when he leaned in to speak. Jeff Keighley did not look very happy ending the Game Awards, to no surprise, but shortly after the event ended, Keighley announced that the Game Awards reached record viewership peaks on YouTube and Twitch. I know Review Tech USA talked about this. I didn't hear what he said about it. I'm surprised the kid made it as far as he did for as long as he did.
Well, he's an average-sized kid, He's only 18, so not 17. So
yeah, but I mean, no one realized that he didn't belong there. I mean,
he blended in very well. Everyone's wearing all black pretty much, and he was wearing all black too, and wearing those Kanye West shoes people kept talking about. So basically,
okay.
he did his stuff beforehand, like not the exact format, but in like the award show, or whatever. But he was on several appearances, like the Alex Jones show and some other major YouTube star channel, something like that, as a prank. Other than that, this Game Awards show something new he's doing for the first time ever. Now, especially he has the money to afford it too. Whatever he's been doing for the last few months prior to the award show, he must have gotten like special access to the front seats area of the award show. And that's how he's able to blend in. So. If I did that, because if I did that shit, I'll be ousted off of the stage with being played with a gun at and shit like that. That's what I'm a 6'7" motherfucker. I'm a very big person, so it's gonna look so obvious. So it's like, who the fuck is this guy? And the kid, the kid, this Bill Clinton kid, you want to call it? He blended in very well, so I congratulate him. Because I know when they said, if you want to commit a crime, just don't stand out in the crowd. That's for certain. I do stand out in the crowd.
If Dr. Games 101 appeared on the stage, things would rise to Nazi Germany's security levels.
Yes. And they'll shoot me if I made a move.
and then they would drag him off stage.
Yeah, saying all that Bill Clinton stuff, and they'll be like, "Yo, my favorite rapper is you, Bill Clinton. I love you, Obama."
It's a good thing no one got hurt. It's a good thing this kid didn't try to attack a game developer or Jeff Keighley. I can understand why Jeff Keighley was upset. And it seems like this did a good thing for rating numbers, but with people today, it's, you never know. I mean, this kind of thing has happened like in wrestling before, but like not as a video game awards. I mean,
it's a very calm, serene atmosphere. People stay in their seats. There's nothing too much exciting going on. At the same time, there is just that it depends on the person. So it's kind of like, it's a calm award. It's like any other award show. It's calm, cool, collected. You're not going to have standoutish behavior from other people, other than that Will Smith slap at the Oscars earlier this year, but that's the story of itself. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, to the kid who did it, I hope it was worth it,
I hope he gets money after this too, right?
Yeah.
But donate to my social media guys. I'll rush some more Bill Clinton later on.
I need money for my bail.
Yeah, he can't believe he got arrested for that shit. That sucks. Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to be on stage. I mean,
he's just a kid. He's like what? Not even 18 yet. So he's still.
Well, then he'll be in juvenile hall.
Juvenile. Yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. We got more GTA to talk about. The bizarre new GTA Online looking game is full of 90s stars. I'm still reeling from one of the 22 Game Awards' weirdest trailers. Kim Basinger, Danny Glover, Vanilla Ice. I thought I might have been having a stroke when 505 Games revealed its colorful multiplayer heist game, Crime Boss, Rocky City at the Game Awards last night. It was getting late. Everything about the trailer screamed Grand Theft Auto, but it was not. In fact, an update to Rockstar Games' open world mega seller. Instead, it's an upcoming PC game from a studio I've never heard of, starring the most random direct-to-Blu-ray cast of Hollywood talent. Crime Boss stars Michael Madison of Reservoir Dogs and Donnie Brasco, fame as Travis Baker, an aspiring Florida kingpin who attempts to climb to the top of the criminal underworld through a series of turf wars, robberies, and crazy side stories. While you might come away from the trailer thinking it's primarily a cinematic narrative game, Crime Boss is actually an online PvE shooter extravaganza where you team up with internet strangers to pull off heists in the vein of Payday 2. Big names, 90s actors aside, the gameplay looks pretty generic. A modern LA noir, this is not. How far will the glitz of aging movie stars carry another otherwise indistinct live service game? Check out the trailer and judge for yourself. Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon rules. Kim Basinger from Batman is iconic. Michael Rooker from Guardians of the Galaxy is fine. Danny Trejo from Machete will appear in anything you pay him to. And Vanilla Ice from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, is sure, fine, whatever. Then there's Chuck Norris, who Game Awards host Jeff Keighley jubilantly pointed out during the live stream and is featured prominently in Crime Boss marketing, but whom frankly I do not need to ever lay eyes on again. The martial arts champion turned fictional Texas Ranger became a household meme in the post 9/11 aughts, but if you've been paying attention more recently, you know he's actually a huge a-hole and right-wing looks kook who hates gay people. Okay, we know where this writer's we know where this guy falls on the spectrum of left or right. You absolutely don't, under any circumstances, guy hand it to him or make him one of the faces of your B-list neon nor heist game. How much will he or others even be in Crime Boss? It's hard to say. It appears to be In-Game Studios' debut game, and it's not mentioned anywhere on the company's website. It's being published by 505 Games in conjunction with Epic Games, wherever that means, and it's already 40% off if you pre-order in next 2 days. It will launch on PC exclusively on the Epic Games Store on March 28, 2023, with a console version to follow later in the year. I have no idea if it will be any good, but it certainly wins my award for Weirdest World Premiere in the year 2022. So, what do you think of a game with all these 90s movie stars?
Well, it will be very interesting to bring back not new, but the reoccurring gamers, because back 10 years ago, it was hard to find gamers in person or my age group, and the older you get, the harder it is to find actual group of people who are in your age group to play games with you, because they're busy with family and friends and paying off bills and such, so it's kind of hard to keep track of everything. But with this game, I'm sure it will appeal to us gamers, because we grew up all the 90s with action-packed stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mel Gibson and things like that. Like, these guys were the masculine role models we had before all the internet broke, all the exposure of these celebrities and all. It meant something to us gamers seeing these top-tier stars in our video games. So. And it's one of them too.
But it's just weird. If someone said Chuck Norris was appearing in a video game, I would have thought you were pulling my leg. But
that cost them a lot of money too to bring these stars together. Lots of money.
Yeah, Vanilla Ice, Kim Basinger.
Crazy.
If
it cost them $1 billion, I bet after bringing those stars in.
And this isn't a Grand Theft Auto game. It's a debut game from some studio we've never heard of before.
Yeah, they're taking risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk. But if I think Kim Basinger, I'm not sure. They said she was from Batman. I just want to check to see which Batman she was in.
Most likely in the 1989 movie with Jack Nicholson. That's the one I could think of.
Yeah, you're right. 1989. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would have thought maybe she was playing the girlfriend in Batman Forever or something.
Nope.
But so
she did good.
Huh?
She did good in that Batman movie of 1989. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, the first two Batman movies from that era were great. So I mean, all these 90s stars are going to be in a video game. And if you were looking for, I guess we'll hear more about it as it comes out. But it just sounds like a weird lineup. I mean, Vanilla Ice from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, for crying out loud.
And also, he was a rapper himself in the 80s as well. Even though he wasn't the best rapper, obviously, he gained notoriety with this origin of his music. So,
Yeah. Well, Ice Ice Baby was still rated the number 9 worst music video of all time by a certain music show.
That's what gave him fame. His quirkiness, you know.
We could talk about that, but we still got more stories to get to.
Right.
We'll hear more about this heist-driven game as time goes on.
Yeah.
Ready to move on, or?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next, Netflix Games adds Kentucky Route Zero and 12 Minutes today. TMNT Shredder's Revenge joining in 2023. The Netflix Games portfolio continues to grow. Fresh off the announcement of Valiant Hearts coming exclusively to the service next year, Netflix Games has announced a new set of games coming to its ever-expanding portfolio, some of which are dropping today. 2 games are being added to the Netflix mobile app today. The critically acclaimed indie adventure Kentucky Route Zero joins with all 5 chapters included, while 12 Minutes, the time loop themed mystery that launched on Game Pass in 2021, makes its mobile debut with Netflix. The company has also announced that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge will join the service in 2023, as well Tilting Point's Vikings Valhalla. Vikings is a strategy game where players will build settlements and develop Viking clans, while Shredder's Revenge will be the full TMNT experience that launched earlier this year on all major consoles. Netflix has put an increased focus on its gaming division in the last, with co-founder and co-CEO Reed Hastings recently reinforcing that stance at a recent conference in New York. The service began in November 2021 with 5 games, and that portfolio has recently grown to over 40 titles. Both original titles like Lucky Luna, mobile versions of physical games like Exploding Kittens, and ports of existing games including Spiritfarer, Into the Breach, and Immortality, which was named one of our top 10 games of 2022. Netflix games are available through the Netflix mobile app on both iOS and Android. All games featured in the app are free with the Netflix streaming subscription. Okay, I didn't even know Netflix was doing this.
Right.
What do you think of these games joining Netflix's service?
Well, I know that Netflix been added with the interactive games on their Netflix streaming services, like that of Black Mirror, for example. I played like the first 5 or 10 minutes of that game, and it's all right. You know, unfortunately, that's not my cup of tea when I want to go to Netflix for. But right. Yeah, but they mentioned now with this Kentucky Route Zero stuff. That's like, I don't know. I never heard that game before. It sounds like it reminds me of that movie, a parody movie actually called Kentucky Fried Movie. You see that movie before yet, Triple J?
No, I have seen the game though.
But there's this movie from the 1970s called Kentucky Fried Movie. It's based off of the Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon scenario. So whatever happened, the first 15, 20 minutes of that movie is all this random stuff, seeing naked girls and stuff like that. Like, this is actually the thing back in the 1970s in theaters, showing nude like girls and, you know, and action-packed style type of movies, so like the black exploitation movies. That's what's good about that Kentucky Fried Movie. You don't see that in today's world anymore. But yeah, with this new stuff there, I'm not sure they're taking some risks, Netflix, and they should have thought better not to do that. What they should do is bring back the old stuff from like the 1990s, 80s, 70s, make it more appealing to connect the audience with the newer audience. Like, to have the parents watch Netflix first, and then their parents will tell them about their movies, and they'll recommend each other new and old movies, stuff like that. Like that, for example, Kung Fu Panda is one of them. Give us the trilogy of that matter. Animes like One Piece, they finally brought back most of the episodes on Netflix up to episode 900, 800, give or take. I'm not sure the exact episodes, but we did recommend us older, at least I personally myself, recommend Netflix to bring back those type of episodes, because the more content they have, the better. And so it's not about being interactive per se, it's about how much more content is worthy of watching on your streaming services. Like, I can always play games whenever I want to. I don't need Netflix to do that for me. So unless they try to appeal towards the younger audience, to retain more.
Well, they said these games will be free for anyone who has a Netflix subscription already.
Oh, okay. So that will appeal towards the parents or to the children. Hey, Timmy, you want to play some Black Mirror? Here, play Black Mirror. They'll show them their account and stuff like that. And let them play it. I don't know. To be honest with you,
But I mean, if it's excuse me, it's kind of like if you're gonna have a Netflix subscription, you gotta have it already. This is just a perk for people who still have their Netflix subscription.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as Shredder's Revenge, that's going to be a fun game for families to play together. So that's obviously a great game to come to the service.
At 12 minutes, it looks good too, because I did play the first 30 minutes of that game. It was like a mindfuckery. Like it was slow pace at first because I messed up on going back and forth with certain things. So I should have build it up a little bit and would see more and more of the game within a shorter period or a more densely period. Because I was expanding it too much. I was rushing through it too much. So you gotta take your time with these type of games. So
yeah. So I mean, like I said, I didn't even know if Netflix was doing this, but it sounds like great, and it's kind of like for people who were gonna have a Netflix subscription either way. This is something else to offer Netflix subscribers.
Well, I mean, it's good. It's a good way to expand their horizons to other users, the ones that never really thought about watching a movie for an hour and 30 minutes straight, because they've been at this since 2019, 2018. Have an interactive, excuse me, have an interactive gameplay, you want to call it like that, among their movies. So, and one of those Black Mirror. So,
yeah. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. 1 moment. Okay. Next. PlayStation Plus December 2022 game catalog lineup includes Yakuza Like a Dragon, WWE 2K22, and more. PlayStation has revealed the December 2022 PlayStation Plus game catalog lineup. It's quite a collection of games, especially if you're a fan of the Yakuza series or the Far Cry franchise. This lineup hits PlayStation Plus alongside this month's 3 free PlayStation Plus titles: Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Divine Knockout, and Biomutant, that you can download now. As for the PlayStation Plus, all premium and extra subscribers can download and play the following games starting December 20th and, it's now the 18th since it's past midnight, so a couple days. WWE 2K22 available starting January 3rd. Far Cry 5, Far Cry New Dawn, Far Cry Primal, Mortal Shell, Judgment, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Yakuza 6 The Song of Life, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, Middle-earth Shadow of War, The Pedestrian, Evil Genius 2, Adventure Time, Pirates of the Enchiridion, Ben 10 Power Trip, Gigantosaurus the Game, Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Ultimate Edition, Worms WMD, The Escapist 2. The classics for PlayStation Plus Premium members are Ridge Racer 2 for PSP, Heavenly Sword for PS3, Oddworld Abe's Exodus for PS1, and Pinball Heroes for PSP. Would you be interested? We don't have PlayStation Plus, but would you be interested in trying out any of these games?
Not right this second. I'm not in no rush to get PS5 just to play these games. Personally, myself, the one game, specifically Yakuza Like a Dragon, that's like the newest entry of Yakuza games. So that's already added to the Game Pass many months ago on the Xbox Game Pass. And if I recall correctly, as of like 2 months ago, you were to play all the Yakuza games: Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kimawi or Kiwawi, Yakuza 2, 3, 4, or 5, and so on and so forth. All on the Game Pass, by the way, for no extra cost to you. So I got plenty of time to play these games. I'm not in no rush to get PS5. Yeah, I would, like I said, I don't have the money for it. If I do have the money for it, I definitely will buy the PS5 sooner or later. But right now, it's like it's I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me because I already played these games on the Xbox One. So
Yeah, Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, I played on the 360 when it first came out. Middle Earth, Shadow of War, I've played already a couple times.
okay.
That's pretty good. Far Cry, I've never played any of the games they listed. WW 2K22, that was surprising. I just shows you how well that game must be doing, and I say well facetiously. So I mean, a lot of games for PlayStation Plus members. Then the PSP and PS1 titles. I don't have a PlayStation 5. I don't know. I don't really plan to get one. I'm more of, if I had the money, I'd be getting an Xbox Series instead. But yeah, so this is. But if you subscribe to PlayStation service, you'll be able to get to download these games.
And you mentioned one game that was on the Xbox One as well. What's the other one again?
Middle Earth Shadow of War.
Yeah, I think I actually had a copy of that part of the Games with Gold. Last time I checked. So.
I don't have it from Games with Gold, but it's on Game Pass right now.
Okay, it must be on Game Pass then. Excuse me, guys.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good game. If people should definitely check that one out. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Only a few more stories left. Epic is cutting the servers for 17 older online games. At least Unreal Tournament 3 may come through unscathed. Fortnite developer Epic Games announced today that it will no longer provide online service or servers for 17 older games, including 6 from the Unreal series dating back as far as 1998, and it will end access to some additional games entirely. The shutdowns are already starting to be enacted, but won't be completed until January 24, 2023. According to its announcement blog post, Epic described its decision to quit servicing some online games as part of its move toward solely supporting Epic Online services with its unified friend system, voice chat features, parental controls, and parental verification features. Epic did not immediately return Kotaku's request for comment. The full list of games is directed as follows. These are the games that are losing online service or lost it already. 1000 Tiny Claws, Dance Central 1, 2, and 3, although for 3, Epic notes that Dance Central VR online player will remain available. Green Day Rock Band, Monsters Probably Stole My Princess. Rock Band 1, 2, and 3, Epic notes that Rock Band 4 online multiplayer will remain available. The Beatles Rock Band, Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars, Unreal Gold, Unreal 2 The Awakening, Unreal 2 Tournament 2003, 2004, and Unreal Tournament 3. Epic notes it has plans to bring back online features via Epic Online services in the future. So Tournament 3 is shutting down, but that might be temporary. And then Unreal Tournament Game of the Year Edition. Though Unreal Tournament 3 has already been removed from Steam, its description seems to have been recently updated to reflect Epic's future plans. It's now listed as a free-to-play shooter with cross-play between Steam, Epic Game Store, and GOG accounts, and no microtransactions and no strings attached, the description says. On top of changing online services, Epic wrote that it has already removed Mac and Linux versions of Bird Dating Sim, Hateful Boyfriend. Hateful Boyfriend, first released in 2011. Hateful Boyfriend, Holiday Star, and mobile game Drop Mix, only 5 years old, from digital storefronts. As of writing, the former 2 are still available on Steam. And the last Band-Aid, though you can play these previous games if you own them, Epic is performing a few total shutdowns. Players will lose access to the following titles on their specified removal dates. Battle Breakers on December 30th, We will automatically refund players for any in-game purchases made via Epic Direct Payment 180 days prior to today, Epic said in its blog. Unreal Tournament Alpha on January 24th. Rock Band Blitz on January 24th. January 24th for all these games. Rock Band Companion App and Sting Space. For some fans, Epic's seemingly sudden decision to stop servicing games or obliterate them entirely comes as a disappointing shock and serves as writing on the wall for the state of digital game preservation. All I can say, this is your last chance to top your Rock Band high score. So what do you think of these games no longer being supported?
Well, to be honest with you, I will miss them entirely. The games that stood out, these games that don't really some of these games don't really stand out to me necessarily. It seems kind of not part of my cup of tea to play them, most of them. To be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly what we just mentioned. That's how forgettable these games are.
Yeah.
Cause
these games really weren't important to us. There was a lot of Rock Band, Unreal Tournament.
Okay, Unreal Tournament, I want to play Unreal Tournament 3, but obviously that's part of the Xbox 3.
Well, they said but they said that might be coming back.
Okay. Because
that's the only Unreal Tournament game that seems to be surviving.
Yeah, I hear great things about Unreal Tournament 3, and I never played the game Unreal Tournaments, any of the Unreal Tournament games, but I heard great things about them, and they're still online to this day, whether it's on Xbox 360 or on the PC. So it depends on how you get to those servers, though. I mean, games like Alien vs Predator 2, even though they should have the servers back in 2008, people still play it to this day, and I'm one of them. I haven't played it in at least 6 months, I will admit that, but in recent time, yeah, I did play Alien vs Predator several times over, so.
Alright, yeah, I'm not going to miss any of these games, but it just does suck that, digital game preservation really doesn't exist. Once the company wants to shut down the games or stop supporting them, they're gone.
Mm-hmm. It's like that with online-only games like Destiny, perhaps
Defiance.
76. Defiance as well, too, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we need something better to preserve these games. I mean, I guess you could always get like a copy of Beatles Rock Band and play it off the disc, I guess, because that game did come out like on PS3, I think.
Okay.
So maybe some of these games you could get on disc and just play like the single player mode. But yeah, it sucks that digitally these games are going to be gone if they aren't already. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to move on.
All right. Next, Marvel Spider-Man 2 gets fall 2023 release window. PlayStation has revealed that Marvel Spider-Man 2 will hit PlayStation 5 sometime next fall. This news comes after leaks from earlier this week indicating the game would be hitting the console in the fall of 2023. It seems those leaks were correct. While we do have this fall 2023 release window, PlayStation did not reveal a release date. What a year it's been for PlayStation Studios here at Insomniac Games. We've been in absolute awe of the work of our peers. Insomniac Games creative director Brian Intihar writes in a PlayStation blog post. Congrats to everyone on a successful 2022, and here's to next year being just as exciting as we continue to get Marvel Spider-Man 2 ready for release next fall. Not much else was revealed about this upcoming sequel, but PlayStation says, following the event on Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Spider duo of Peter Parker and Miles Morales are back in the next blockbuster action chapter of the Marvel Spider-Man series. The rest of the PlayStation blog post details other upcoming titles, like Hogwarts Legacy, which had gameplay showcase yesterday, Forspoken, which I previewed last week, and Final Fantasy 16. Head there for additional details about these games and more. In the meantime, do you think Marvel Spider-Man 2 will hit PS5 next fall, or do you think it will be delayed beyond that?
It should be delayed because Spider-Man came out for PS4 back 2018.
And then Miles Morales a couple years later.
Yeah, so give it some breathing room for some newer players that play the older stuff. and then come on with Spider-Man 2. Hell, even I myself want to play Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie game. You know?
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? Like I said, we were talking about Call of Duty earlier. Why not offer Spider-Man to Xbox in lieu for Call of Duty? That way both studios are getting games. It's a trade. It's
Yeah, it's to the point where it's like, with the Spider-Man 2 game. I mean, I'm sure it'll be successful no matter what. It's just that, if you really want people to go into your game further, though, you have to make sure you make them release on certain times of certain period of times. You can't just put out every year, every 6 months. It's people don't understand that we have a certain attention span as well as money to spend. So it's kind of like over time, for the next God knows how many years, a year from now, all these games coming out for 2023 on the Xbox One, like Redfall and whatever the other games are out there, stuff like that. It's like, we're not going to have the money for it, let alone, we have the time for it maybe in some cases, but not the money,
Yeah.
Because $60 games are cumulative after a while. Like, every $60 every couple of months, it's like 120, then 180, then 200. It's like, I don't have that kind of money just to keep dishing out that kind of money for games.
Yeah. So Spider-Man 2. As long as the game is working, I really don't care when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing. The game releases finished. But as money, not. It's not going to be bug free, but at least most of the bugs found and fixed beforehand. That's all I care about on when it comes to Spider-Man 2's release window. Just enough time to iron out at least most of the bugs.
Oh yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, the final story for tonight. This is going to be a doozy. Congress wants to know what the biggest game companies are doing to combat extremism. A letter is being sent to companies like EA, Activision Blizzard, and Riot. A group of 7 lawmakers are sending a letter to the world's biggest video game companies tomorrow, asking each of them what steps they're taking to combat harassment and extremism in online video games. This is why we can't have nice things. As Axios reports, the 7 Democratic representatives, what a surprise, including Lori Trahan from Massachusetts, Katie Porter from California, and Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, have all co-signed a letter which is looking to better understand the processes you have in place to handle player reports of harassment and extremism encounters in your online games, and asks for consideration of safety measures pertaining to anti-harassment and anti-extremism. Unsurprisingly, the list includes companies like Activision Blizzard for Call of Duty and Overwatch, Microsoft, Xbox, Sony PlayStation, Roblox, Take-Two Interactive which has Grand Theft Auto and NBA 2K, Riot Games, which is responsible for League of Legends and Valorant, Epic, which is responsible for Fortnite, and Electronic Arts, which releases Battlefield, FIFA, and Madden. Those are all impressive international companies, most of them with thousands of employees spread out all over the world, and responsible for some of the planet's most popular and enduring online games. To want to grill them when so many of them are based in the U.S., or at least most popular in the U.S., is a pretty obvious move. Hilariously, though, whoever put this list together or which companies to target has clearly just gone down a list of most popular games, not biggest companies, because among those titans of industry are Innersloth, the developers of Among Us. Among Us may be a huge hit, but Innersloth are also a tiny team. How tiny? This tiny. Innersloth's website says the studio currently has 20 employees. I don't know how much they're going to be able to explain when the game has you playing as a cute little astronaut, doesn't have voice chat, and only lets players communicate via a menu of pre-written lines. But then nobody has to legally reply to the letter at all. It's just a letter. So maybe they can just reply, sorry, thanks, this is meant for Xbox, and get on with their day. So with all the things going on in the world, Democrats feel this is feel this is what's most important.
Yeah, while people in our country are starving from lack of food and resources, we got to spend like half a day every day for how many hours on end just trying to investigate extremism in video games. That's lovely right there, Congress. You really wasted a lot of our tax dollars for that matter. Congratulations.
It's all from the Democrats.
It's Democrats doing this stuff, huh?
Yeah, it was all Democrats that signed the letter.
I don't understand how politicians of today. Like, I understand they're over 50. They never experienced having a game before in their lives yet, or if they did have a game, it was being Jack in the Box or what's it called, Flak Jacks, whatever it's called. Those type of games they grew up with, but they were grew up with a handheld device like a Game Boy or perhaps even a PlayStation. I can understand that. They never experienced these type of games before altogether, and it's to a point where it's like, why are you wasting so much of your time for finding about extremism in video games, knowing that the younger generations are not into that type of stuff? They're not into knowing about World War II and then how to reinvigorate the Nazism and stuff like that. Very few of them, extremely few of them, think like that. And they usually don't have no guidance in the matter, so they just look it up on video games. Like, oh, that's my inspiration. It's video games. And I want to make it into its manifestation of real life. But you're not going to get that in today's gamers. They're not into forming an army or forming a revolution in this country or whatever. It's a thing of the past. Oh yes, are there 35-plus-year-olds like myself who are into history and want to reinvigorate some glorious moments of our American culture? I guess so. But with the numbers involved, with the people involved, with the mindset, it's all about the mind first. Then you can manifest that idea into actuality. And at this time, you ruined the imaginations of the youth. They're not into all that wartime stuff or forming the Siamese Liberation Army Square or the Weather Underground type of shit. Whatever you're thinking of. They just want to play games. That's all.
Yep.
Maybe me want to start revolution, which doesn't make any sense though, because I personally myself, I'm glad that I have a roof over my head and video games I could choose from any time of the day. I could work whenever I want to, how much I want to. I'm not gonna ruin that for myself and others. I can understand the feeling. Why ruin something that we already have that's a blessing? So I'm glad. I'm glad that Congress is being so outdated now, because the next generation coming in, that's when they're gonna see some big differences in our country. Right now, it's hard to find that because no one's organized to pursue leadership in government as of today, and it sucks. You can't find that right now. Hopefully, in the next 5 or 10 years, things will change. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, take these Democratic lawmakers who signed this letter, and I always like to say, expose them to an Xbox 360 Call of Duty online lobby.
Yeah, they won't survive.
If you extremism, and please, so I think there's more important things like inflation and rising crime and rising prices of food and gas. There's more important things than to worry about extremism and video games.
Definitely.
That Congress could get involved in. Mm-hmm. This is just a waste of time. This is just like the Night Trap situation when lawmakers were getting all pissy over that.
Oh yeah.
This is what I feel like is today's version of that, basically.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, and that's the last story we have for tonight. So I hope you enjoyed listening to us talk about these stories. As far as I know, the next episode will be on New Year's Eve. I'm not doing anything New Year's Eve night. Are you going to be available then?
Yeah, I'll be available to do a podcast with you, Triple J. No problem.
Okay, so provided nothing big happens earlier tonight, New Year's Eve, our next podcast will be expected to start 9 p.m. Eastern. follow me if you want to see that. Also, subscribe to my BitChute in the About section of my Twitch profile. I did a Let's Play there, I think Friday. Might have been Thursday. I'm going to try to get more done, including starting a new Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 series, which is NWA in the year 2020. Which, hopefully real life doesn't get in the way again like it did tonight. And I won't. I'll be returning to streaming on Tuesday. Anything you want to say, Dr. Games 101, before we go?
I just want to say, guys, that I have a vacation started right now from school, so for the next 2 weeks I can upload more content than ever. Hopefully I try to do at least every other day a gameplay video of like Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, what it's called, also Dirge of Erebus, Tank Crisis 4. I'll try to do as much as possible I can within a few days, because I'm moving off from school and stuff like that, so be on the lookout for my YouTube channel for the matter and see these contents manifest itself. So,
alright. So until next time, good night, everyone.
Goodbye, people, and Merry Christmas.